I was still in school at the time, obviously long black hair and all the rest of it. And as you can imagine, being like a goth in school and stuff like that, like I used to get shit off the other kids and all the rest of it. And when they found out that I wanted to join the military, I got so much fucking shit from people. They were all like, "Oh, fuck you, he's not going to join, all right, soft bastard." Do you know what I mean? I'm just, I think one of the other drivers is, don't tell me I can't fucking do something, because I will go and do it, or I will fucking die on that hill, you know? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. It's
just stubbornness, isn't it, really?
Well, yeah, in a sense, I guess. Yeah. Oh, it's not even so much as proving yourself, it's more proving it to yourself as well.
If you like this podcast or the previous ones, please consider buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Frankie'sPod. It just goes to help fund the software and the hosting. Right, just before we crack on with this episode, just a quick word about our sponsor, KS Civils and Groundworks Limited, based in Leeds. They have over 296 years of combined experience in civil engineering and groundworks. Led by Director Carl Smith, their team is known for honesty, reliability and commitment to the highest safety and quality standards. They're proudly ISO accredited and fully CHAS Elite accredited. No matter the size of your project, KS Civils and Groundworks delivers professional, trustworthy service you can rely on. To learn more, visit kscivilsandgroundworks.co.uk. Now let's dive back into this episode.
Oh yeah, welcome back to the podcast. Tonight I'm talking to Danny Taylor. Danny joined the RLC in 2009 and served all the way through to 2018. I found Danny online on TikTok. He's under his name of Stretch. I think he performs. He streams on Twitch as well, so you're going to go back to that as well, aren't you?
That's right,
Danny,
yeah.
how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, man. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thanks for coming on. I really
pleasure.
appreciate it. Like I said to everyone, if I didn't have people coming on here, I'd just be sat here talking to myself. And nobody wants to hear that. I tried it once. I did a podcast just with me.
I don't know. I reckon like forensic psychologists would love to hear someone just talking to themselves for a while.
I think some people might have already listened to mine. There's every now and again there's a van parked outside. I think they're looking for me. I don't know. Right, so it's the same questions I've got for you that I have for everybody else. So, Where did you grow up? Why did you join the military? What was it like? And any stories about that if you want to share them? What made you leave? Because that's always an interesting topic. And what it was like leaving the military as well, the transition back into civility. And what have you done since, and what your plans are for the future? That's 6 questions. I've sneaked an extra one in.
Why not?
Just want to give us let us know about where you grew up and what that was like. Give us a bit of feel of you. Feel of you? Ooh.
I mean, pay me enough.
Very different stream, I think.
We'll talk about this afterwards.
Yeah, you never know. Only pans. Yeah.
Yeah, one of them. So I was born in Huddersfield in 1992. Moved over to Wakefield when I was very young. Parents separated and stuff like that. Again, when I was very young. Grew up most of my time in Wakefield, but I moved around Yorkshire a little bit. Ended up in Beverley at one point near Leconfield. And then, a few and far between. I've been all over the place when it comes to my upbringing, definitely.
Did that affect you, the moving around a lot? Or?
If it has, I don't know about it.
Right.
It's just one of those, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You just sort of you adapt. Well, maybe I was bred for the military itself. You always adapting and such.
Yeah, I suppose that's all you're used to as well. You don't know any different.
That's it. Yeah.
I grew up in a family where I'm there all the time. I'm the youngest one of millions of us. And half of them had joined the army.
Millions.
Everyone else was, 5 of them. Last count, I can't remember. Oh, I'm the
last
fifth
3 just walked out.
Yeah. When's it my turn? Like thing. And they joined the military, so it was just expected that I would as well. And I did, but it's a different story. So, growing up around, especially like say Beverley near Leconfield, did you notice the military and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, massive military presence all the time. So I do come from quite a service background, okay?
Right.
To my knowledge, this is where things get a little bit weird because my mum was adopted. So we obviously know who her dad is and all the rest of it, my granddad, effectively. To my understanding, so my great-granddad was the RSM of the Royal Irish. Then my granddad was IUC Belfast. My mother was also IUC Belfast. So we there is quite a strong sense of service on my mum's side. On my dad's side, so my dad went into joinery. He literally sort of had that, you know, stereotypical conversation with his dad. It's either you get a job or you are going in the army sort of thing, you know? And he managed to get an apprenticeship in joinery. So he's done that. He is probably, he is every detail to the word a craftsman. Honestly, his work is insane. And he can work out massive numbers in his head. Like, I swear he's autistic. But so I think my great-granddad, I think it was one of my great-uncles on my dad's side was Royal Military Police. No, I'm joking. But I think he was RMP. And so, again, it's everything. There was a lot of service connection and stuff like that. My mum was married to a Royal Marine at one point, and just before I went in, obviously they split up years before I actually applied, and she ended up with someone from 2nd Bat Royal Anglian, a full screw, and he ultimately sort of guided me through the process and told me not to join the infantry, basically. So that's what I wanted to do. It's one of those, isn't it? So, I mean, I was like, as a kid, I wasn't like a bad kid, you know what I mean? I was just a bit rebellious in certain aspects. Like, I used to have long black hair, the big platform boots and all the rest, like proper goth style. Yeah, dude, proper long hair. And I still listen to all that music now, do you know what I mean? I love it, and my brothers and sisters are all that way inclined as well. Skateboarding, all that kind of good jazz when I was a kid. Getting drunk on park benches, listening to My Chemical Romance at the age of 50.
This sounds fucking total cliche, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, I'm just an average dude.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, you sort of say that. I mean, it was no different in my day. You know, we were still, we didn't have white lightning then. We used to drink Merry
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, I like a white lightning.
you brought back some memories there, my guy. Jesus.
Fucking white lightning 2020. Yeah. Yeah, we used to hang on like bus shelters at the end of the cemetery and sitting there in the night. And we weren't being like naughty.
Yeah.
But people walking past us like across the street and that, because we were just, you know, we had like drink pipe fucking jeans on and Doc Martens and shit like that. We were like all skinheads. But I was like a secret new romantic. So I listened to Duran Duran and stuff like that, and I didn't dare tell my friends because they beat the shit out of me.
I was going to say, there's that whole like rocker mod thing going on at that time.
Yeah, and there's me listening to fucking Duran Duran and Ultra and stuff like that.
I don't blame you. I don't mind a bit of Duran Duran, not going to lie.
It's the same, you know, it's no different to what kids are doing now, really.
In some cases, yeah, like I agree. In others, I don't. I'm not being funny, right? There are so many fat children. Yeah. There are so many chubby little fuckers knocking about, right?
No,
I mean, I'm not a skinny dude, right? But it's like I blame e-scooters and Fortnite. That's it.
So there's a thing. We could develop an e-scooter with a screen on that they could play Fortnite on.
Or, to counter that, we could get a scooter, and I'm pretty sure it already exists, with a fucking treadmill on it, right?
Yeah. Or we could just take them all off them and make them fucking run.
I mean, yeah, that too.
That'd be cheaper.
Yeah.
So your desire to join the military then, that's like stemmed from some sort of background in your family as well?
Yeah, it's something, so like I live stream now and again, right? And it's something that does pop up in like the comments. It's sort of like, why did you join? And you know, I can never pinpoint exactly why. It was one of those things that I was always drawn to. Do you know what I mean? I ended up going into cadets from a young age as well. But it's like, it was always something I was just drawn to. I don't know if it was like, I've always played video games throughout my life. I still do now. I don't know if that had something to do with it, or maybe just like a combination of all these things accumulating together to that point. But there had always been a strong sense of service in the military itself. So it's I can never pinpoint the moment I was like, I'm gonna go do this. Do you know what I mean? But I remember when I said that I was going to go do this, right? I was still in school at the time, obviously long black hair and all the rest of it. And you can imagine being like a goth in school and stuff like that. Like, I used to get shit off the other kids and all the rest of it. And when they found out that I wanted to join the military, I got so much fucking shit from people. They were all like, "Oh, fuck you, he's not going to join. All right, soft bastard." Do you know what I mean? I'm just, I think one of the other drivers is, don't tell me I can't fucking do something, because I will go and do it, or I will fucking die on that hill, you know? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it is. It's
just stubbornness, isn't it, really?
Well, yeah, in a sense, I guess, yeah. Oh, it's not even so much as proving yourself, it's more proving it to yourself as well. In the sense of like, all these, is this how people sort of see me? They don't know me at all. Maybe, can I do this? Can't I do this? And it's like, I'm going to go find out. And so I did, effectively.
So what made you pick the RLC then? Or was it chosen for you by the recruiter? Like so many regiments have been.
Yeah, it kind of a bit of both. So like I mentioned, so my mum was with someone from 2nd Bat Royal Angley, and he was a full screw. And obviously he knew my desire to join. Like I said, through like 15 till I was like, after I left school, I still fucked around for a year. I was just drinking, skateboarding, and on all that kind of good jazz, right? And then I sat myself down, like, right, I said I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go do it, right? So I spoke to him, and he says, Dan, if you're going to go in, because originally I wanted to go into the Yorkshire Regiment, and obviously being from Yorkshire and that, and he says, Dan, if you're going to go in, I would advise you get a trade. And do you know what I mean? Like, this guy's a corporal in the infantry. He probably knows what he's talking about, you know? So went down to the recruitment centre and stuff like that. I had a Yorkshire Reg recruiter and a Para Reg recruiter. Yeah, so I was there, obviously, like, being advised to get a trade. What can you do for me, sort of thing. And something that stood out to me was Army Air Corps driver signaller. So I get my driving license out of it, and I get signals sort of bits out of it, right? But there was like a 2-year waiting list on that. And I was like, dude, what will get me out of the house? I am ready to go. I am itching. I am chomping at the bit. Get me out. What we doing? And they went, oh, RLC driver? And I was like, all right, sick. Yeah, let's do it. Do you know what I mean? So I just scribbled my name away and all the rest of it. My mum sat next to me. Obviously, she knows who the paras are. Obviously, working with them in Belfast. Because the para guy tried getting me to go para. And he was, and my mum's like, Daniel, I support you joining the military, right? You're not joining the fucking paras, okay? So I was like,
if you do, you never come know.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Effectively, I was like, oh, okay, I'll go RLC then.
Very, very different. It's funny you mention that about the Air Corps, though, because that's how I ended up in the artillery.
Oh, really?
As a kid, you know, one of my brothers was in the Royal Signals, another one was in the Engineers, and I had fucking posters of Lynx helicopters and Gazelles and not Chinook, sorry, of Lynx and Gazelle on my wall in my bedroom. And I wanted Air Corps. I wanted to go Junior Leaders, Air Corps, and nothing else. I went through all the selection for it. Went down to we used to go to Sutton Coldfield in them days for your like weekend assessment and that, and went down there and sat. Passed all the tests, passed the fizz, fucking just. And first time I ever seen someone sit up in bed and scream. This guy had like fucking night terrors in his fucking bed. And he just sat, he was in the bed next to me, sat up, screamed, looked at me in the face, and then went back to sleep. And I'm like, what the fuck? What am I doing? I want to go home now, you know. 15 years old going, what the fuck?
We had a guy like that in Phase 1. You could hear him from the other side of the... so we had 4 sections in our training, even though you normally have 3, right? But we had 4 sections, and we were at one side of the building. You could hear him at the other, just screaming.
Yeah, what the fuck? Well, I went through to the final interview, and the guy saying, I says, right, blah, blah, blah. You'll have to wait till October. And this was like May. And I was like, no. I'm needing now. I don't want to be hanging around in Hartlepool. Because it's shit, and I don't want to be hanging around in Hartlepool for the summer while I've got no money or anything like that. I want straight in.
This is it as well, yeah.
And he went, yeah, read this then, what do you think? And I read this pamphlet, and I was like, oh, fucking hell. Like, they do sailing, they're going skiing, they're going mountain climbing. I fucking like the sound of that. I love a bit of that. What other? He says, that's the artillery. I was like, the what? What do they do?
Yeah.
You know, he goes, well, it tells you in that book. I thought I was going to venture training for the rest of my life, but... So
this is the thing.
Yeah, that's how I ended up in the artillery. And a lot of people have said the same thing, where they were trying to join up. They wanted to join the Air Corps and ended up in a different regiment because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's literally the waiting list. Like, honestly, if I'd have done my research when I was younger, I was just like, "What? Get me out of the house." Do you know what I mean? And as I'm sure you were, information isn't as accessible to us as much as it is now. We've got I don't know. Did your teacher ever say, like your maths teacher, you never have a calculator in your pocket? Guess what, dickhead? Yes, I do. Right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No one really saw it coming either, and it's one of these things where it's like, if I'd have put like a little bit more research, maybe I'd have gone somewhere else. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I wouldn't have met the people that I did along the way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And honestly, I worked with, obviously you get the dickheads, that's fine. But I've worked with some of the best people I've ever met in my goddamn life. Do you know what I mean? I've got like a little digital photo frame to the right of me here, and it comes up with just like time. I mean, there's me and my boy Jamie Campbell on the screen right now, and it's us on the piss in Chippenham. Do you know what I mean? It's just full of the lads, my service, and my niece as well. Anyone touches my niece, I will commit war crimes.
I think I tried to hide all the photos of me in the military. The piss anyway. All I can say is I'm glad in my day there was no mobile phones, digital cameras, or social media, because shit we used to get up to.
I think there was
turning up for training then.
So I originally I wanted to get into Harrogate. I wanted to go through that way, but there was some issues that I'm not going to get into, because I'd originally tried to apply when I was 16. But anyway, I missed the intake, because you can still go to Harrogate at 17 as long as it's like the first few months. But I missed out on that intake, so I ended up going to quote unquote big boy basic training, right? And I think I was the second youngest in the training battery. We were 7.6 mods training battery.
Yeah.
And I was the second youngest and also the second tallest. There was this other lad, he was an RMP dude, and he was just an absolute monster of a man. He was built like a horse, like he was just huge. But anyway, I was doing well. He was a good lad, you know what I mean? But yeah, tipping up, oh God, it was kind of weird, because you still got that, because I was so young, especially out of all the other bods that were there. Like, a lot of people would have probably looked at me and thought I was a fucking dickhead. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that I was still a bit of, not a cocky teenager, but sort of like, I'm still a teenager, right? Do you know what I mean? I'm still essentially trying to find myself. I'm trying to find out who I am still. Do you know what I mean? So there might have been a little bit of pushback from me sometimes, but I did get on with like the regime of training. And obviously, if I was not been in, but tipping up, we were all very excited. Do you know what I mean? It's something new and it's something very big. And going from, and I shit, when I handed in my papers to the careers office, like the last set of papers that you hand in, I actually sat in a car park in Peterborough with my mum with me, right? And I was just crying. I was just like, I don't know if I'm ready, So going from that feeling to a feeling of sort of like excitement, it's kind of wild, isn't it? So during basic, I wasn't like the best at everything, but I wasn't the worst at everything either. I just remember there was this one fucking Scottish guy, and I fucking hated him. I didn't get on with many people in basic, but I do put that down to myself a little bit. But there was other people there that was just like, I always get going back to my stream sort of thing. People going, I'm going to basic in a few days. Like, have you got any tips? And I always tell them about, like, the grey man system. I always tell them about that. And we had this guy, and he was such a fucking green man, dude. He was just like, oh, couple,
Yeah.
And it was just like, I fucking hate you so much. But I remember I got my best time in for a PFA or PFT or whatever the fuck they call it now, my mile and a half. I think I came in at about, I think it was like 9:30, and it was my best time I'd ever done, because that Scottish guy was in front of me, and I was like, I ain't letting you have this on me, mate. Not a chance. I just opened my legs, mate, and I was like, I don't care. I will get to the end and die, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, basic, it's kind of weird. You take it day by day, and if you take it day by day, I think you'll be just fine. Instead of worrying about what's happening next week, just focus on the week that you're in. And it's the last time that anything's ever structured in the military as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's the last. Yeah. It's the last time where anything in the military is structured, because outside looking in, civilians outside looking in, you see us on the parades. You see, we just had troop in the colour of the weekend, right? You see how regimented, and that's what Civ Pop see, right? But behind the scenes, never is. So I mean,
the thing that hit me when I got to training was, I mean, I didn't have the excitement that you mentioned. To me, I didn't really think about it. It was like fucking hell. I didn't understand the gravitas of I'm joining the military. Really, you know what I mean? I was just like, right, fucking off, I'm going. You know what I mean? But the thing that got me was the people from all over. We had people from the Highlands, people from Devon, you know, all in the troop, and I'm like listening to all these different accents, you know, and like you say, back in my day, you know, fucking black and white telly almost, like type of thing. You didn't like move around as much as what people do now, you know. And I'm not.
Yeah.
And I make myself sound really old, and it was only 40 years ago. And when I said I'm not making myself sound old, I just really am having a fucking hell. You know, I've known people who grew up in Hartlepool and never left it.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
furthest they went
Yeah.
was in Middlesbrough or something like that. You know, they just didn't. They didn't go away on holiday and this, that, and the other. So I didn't move around. I didn't experience people from Derby, people from Nottingham, people from fucking London, and you know that type of thing. We had one lass. I nearly said then got posted to our school. Fucking hell, who came to our school, and she was from Northampton, and we used to call her Duchess because we thought she had the most
Because it was
accent
posh.
in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, she didn't.
Yeah. No.
But it's that got me when I got to training. Everyone's from all over the place, and it was like a melting pot of people, and you didn't know how to react with people and stuff. I mean, I might have got in a few scrapes and fights with people in training. And like I was saying earlier about a reunion last week, I think I misremember a lot of my training where I thought I was quiet. I wasn't, apparently. I've remembered things over the last week, and apparently, you know, they were right. I was a bit of a twat with everyone else.
Yeah.
But that's where you bump into people, and you've got to remember when you're going to training, you've got all these new guys there, and it's fucking like full of testosterone. Even the lasses who join the army have testosterone. You know, no disrespect to them, but
big lady balls for some of them, man.
Yeah, they're harder than the fucking lads who were joining some of them. You know?
My first full screw when I got to unit. We'll go into that, but yes, she was.
So for me, it was that meeting of everybody, and that's what like kind of got me and made me help me gel, I suppose, within the troop.
Yeah.
I don't know if you experienced it like that, because you said you moved around quite a bit. All right, it was in Yorkshire, but you know, Beverley's very different to Wakefield, isn't it? The people.
Oh God, yeah.
You wouldn't put them in each other's place. They'd fucking like.
Yeah, there would be a culture shock. Yeah, but I think the other thing with basic training as well is it's kind of like you try and find your place within that, because at the end of the day, you're all dudes. And especially a 17-year-old where like hormones are just boom, 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 you know?
Yeah.
Like you try and find your place in the pecking order within the section as well. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's where a lot of conflict within it comes from. But yeah, like you say, just so many people, so many different cultures like expect this from this person, and this is how I do these things, and just the way that some people do things is just completely different. You kind of pick up on that. Do you know what I mean?
That's the whole idea of training, is to knock everyone down to one level.
That's it,
and then bring them up together, type of thing. You know, I think that's one of the reasons we suffer later on when we leave the military, type of thing, because of that. You've got to think, when people are joining the military between the age of say 16 and like say 25, 26, you're still developing as a person.
Oh.
Your brain's still growing. And then all of a sudden you're put into this situation where you're being made regimented. That's when you're I'm going to put this in English because I don't speak English. Your brain is forming, and it's that last bit of the jelly when it's set.
Yeah.
If it's got a thumbprint on it, it's going to stay there forever, type of thing.
That's such a really good analogy. Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden we're adults, even though I think I've only just turned an adult. Because I was never a fucking adult in the army.
I'm not one now. It's fine.
Fucking no. We're thinking the camaraderie and stuff like that as well is ingrained into you for the rest of your life, more or less. Not just the rest of your career, but the rest of your life. You know, but it's just one of them things. It is what we went through and what we all got in common as well. You know, everyone who's in the army or the Navy or the Air Force. Got in common. I've got to be nice to the Air Force because I want to get some on here.
Like I won't even lie to you. Like, I suppose that's a little bit further down the line, like during leaving. So I'll probably leave it till like the leaving bit of the podcast. But make a note of that. I bought these sticky notes, right, and they're crap. They are rubbish. They don't stick to anything. So they're just notes at this point. But anyway.
I've got a notebook here that I've had since I started, and it's just got scribbles, and I was right, I'll make notes all the way through an interview, and then I can go back to them. And all I ever write down is the date, the name, and that's it. I don't write anything else down. So when I go back to do the notes on it, I'm like, why the fuck do you not write anything down? Right, fucking hell, pointless. So how did you find the full screws and stuff like that? Were they scary?
Because I'd lived with one. He was still a bit of a full screw at home. Do you know what I mean? And the Royal Marine, the Royal Marine that my mum was married to before this gent was very, very, I want to say very strict. It's kind of weird because I don't even know if I should be mentioning this, so I just sort of like put a little timestamp sort of there, I guess. But so my mum's partner at the time, and I need to make sure that she's okay with me saying this, is he was Princess Diana's bodyguard.
Right, okay.
So he's left the Marines waiting to close protection, that sort of thing. And he had a few. He's a really nice man. He's a really down to earth, but he was very, very strict, very strict. So I think because I'd been used to such a regime, not a regime, that makes him sound like a fucking dictator. It wasn't like that at all. But because I was sort of like used to that treatment, and training for, I enjoyed it. And my interaction with the full screws, it wasn't. We weren't like pally, best mates, bezzers and that. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't anything like that. But I did feel a mutual respect from that. I'm sure loads of other people within the section did as well. Yeah. And within the troop did as well. There was mutual respect. Like if you, don't get me wrong, discipline was installed from day one. Well, not from day one. As soon as you got your injection, that's it. Arse is yours. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like there was never a time where I thought, these full screws are picking on me here. I never once thought that, which I hear has changed now. A lot of people believe that that's the case. And that's what I always say as well. Like, don't take bee stings personally, 'cause it's not a personal thing. It really isn't. It is. I watched a video. There was it's like a documentary or something, joining the military. And they did like a room inspection, right? And this full screw, it was Remy full screw, right? Pulled this bed out and then put his finger along the coping behind the bed. And obviously it's chalked with dust. But these guys are in like day 2 or 3. So that's not just settled there since they got in there. So the point is, they're always going to fucking find something. No matter how good you are. But yeah, like you could like towards the end of training and stuff, like you could sort of like joke with the screws a bit, with the full screws and stuff like that. And I like to believe that I built up quite a good rapport with some of them. So yeah, I weren't like scared or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know what I'm getting myself into. I've been told by a full screw in the Anglians. So I was kind of prepared for it, I guess. You know what I mean? I just soaked up all the information like a sponge and just went down and got after it as best I could.
I mean, I've interviewed guys who've joined the military through various times, basically. I mean, I think the earliest one was 19. I think he joined, and what they mentioned about going through like basic training and trade training and stuff like that was really no different to when I joined in 1985.
Okay.
I mean, the military service was like not much different. They still did the same shit that we got up to. They just, I think they did it with a bit more flair, type of thing. Or they tell the stories better, maybe. I don't know. And they've had longer to think about them.
You went through the trivium.
Yeah, it didn't sound that much different because we always say it was fucking harder in my day type of thing.
Yeah, there's always going to be an element like I could tell blocks that are going in now. Oh, well, my basic training was harder than your basic. It's going to be like that forever.
SLR SA80 thing, innit?
Exactly. Yeah.
SLR, by the way.
I never got a chance to fire it.
To be honest, I thought it was great, but I was quite happy when somebody gave me an SA80 because it was a lot smaller and easier to fucking manage. And I never had an issue with it in my service.
Same. I never had issue either.
I've got one on my wall downstairs, not a real one, in case the fucking police are listening. It's kind of made people look at it when they walk in the room. They're like, "The fuck's that?"
No, bro, it's airsoft. It's fine.
It's not real. Don't worry. I went into counselling last year. And the counsellor came around the house to assess me. I walked in and seen it on the wall, and they were like, "I was like, it's not real. It's a prop for the podcast. That's what it's for."
But consider this a warning.
Yeah, I got a strike on TikTok. They give me a warning.
Dude, their TOS man is just super heavy-handed.
Yeah, it's fucking I don't understand it. I don't fucking want to understand it.
Yeah.
But anyway, fucking digressing again.
Aye.
Yeah, so like the training's not that much different from from generation to generation to generation. Society changes generation to generation to generation, and training's got to adapt to that as well. You can't get away with some of the stuff they used to do in the 60s. Can't get away with stuff they did in the 80s. You can't get away with stuff they did in 2009 when you joined, because society changes. And as much as us old fucking crusty fuckers, look at this and go, "Oh yeah, well you shouldn't be doing that." Well, actually, that's how you should be doing it, because things are different. Whether it's soft or whether people are different, society is different. So we have to reflect that, and we have to adapt people. We still want people to come in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You found it fairly easy to join. I found it very easy to join. And I'm reading now and seeing lots of videos where people are waiting a year, 2 years to get in.
That's the other thing. I had a guy in my chat the other day said it took him 18 months.
Yeah.
That's not acceptable.
Well, and we all blame Capita, whoever it is that's doing it. I think it is Capita. We all blame them, or we blame the process of joining and stuff like that. And then I caught a video the other day. Somebody was interviewing, I think it was Dodge Woodall was interviewing some guy from Capita, and he was explaining it. He said, "Look, it's not our fault, because the system we had 140,000 people applied to join the military in the last couple of years, and the system is not geared to take that amount of people. A lot of them get thrown away. So they're trying to change the system, so hopefully it'll get better. I mean, God forbid that anything's going to happen in the future, but the way it looks at the moment, we could be, I'm not trying to fearmonger or anything like that, but things could happen. The world's always unstable everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems to be escalating the last 2 or 3 years, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's always been like that.
Yeah. It's just coming more front and center, and people are sort of another thing I get is, would you rejoin with the world in the way it is? And I think the reason, when I joined, it was, people would just coming off Telic and going, sorry, what would 2009 be? Herrick 7, probably? I can never remember the numbers. Something like that.
I can never remember the numbers, mate.
So in 2011, you'll have had 14 and 15. Yeah. So every year, you obviously get 2 numbers, don't you? 6-month tours, right? So it's probably Herrick 9-ish, I guess, when I went through basic. Afghan was still kicking off. I knew that I'd eventually get sent over there at some point. Do you know what I mean? Whether it's for the right reasons or wrong, people can debate that all they want. It is what it is.
It's not our position to debate it. It's our position to go and do it.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, I was a teenager. You don't really know any better at that point. You're not switched onto politics as many are now. There's not. Again, it all comes down to information in your palm as well. Do you know what I mean?
But I mean, you make an interesting point there. That so I interviewed Colonel Collins last year. He was when he was a major. He was my battery commander for a while, and he ended up CO Pairbright around the time you were there. And he just said something to me, and I thought, fuck me, I never thought of that. From 2003 onwards, up until 2000, fucking whatever, when it all stopped and the Yanks pulled out of Afghan and ran away in the night. Not bitter about that. We should mention that. The yous lot were joining up in that time period, knowing that within 18 months you're going to be in a theatre of war. When I joined, there was nothing like that. There was Northern Ireland, and that was it. You were lucky if you got a tour at the Northern Ireland. I was quite lucky. We got an emergency tour not long after I got my regiment. But there was not, it was like exercise in Germany, fucking Canada, exercise in Germany, Canada, exercise in Germany, Canada, and that's all you did. And then the odd tour of Ireland thrown in, and then Bosnia came around in the 90s, and it got a bit tastier. And then Kosovo, and it got a bit tastier. Obviously, you had the Gulf in 91, but there was no nothing. There was no after that. We could have fucking whatever, and then all of a sudden, 2003, Optelic, we were there again, rightly or wrongly, whether we should be in there or not, doesn't matter. I was there, and I'm very proud of what we did. We did the best of what we could, and if we hadn't done the best of what we could, we'd have lost a lot more people during the actual, war, if you want to call it a war. Some people do, some people don't. And like I said, rightly or wrongly, we were there. In hindsight, probably shouldn't have been, but we were. With Herrick and Telic, it was a busy time for the whole of the armed forces.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you coming in, joining, I kind of tip me out off, sis, because of
I appreciate that.
No, seriously, I really do. If you hadn't been volunteering to come in and fill up the fucking ranks, we'd have had to go out more often. So thanks for that. But you just came in knowing that you were going to go and do, into a theatre of war, chance of losing your life, this, that, and the other. And as much as we say that matter-of-factly now, because, again, through training, you get that ingrained into you and stuff like that, that it is a matter of fact, it's a job. When you're a young teenager or a young man, if you've joined a bit later, coming into the military, you've still got to have that little thing in the back of your mind saying, actually, that could happen.
This is it. I mean, all I knew is that I was going to join the army. I was probably going to get sent overseas, and I'll be driving a truck. That is literally from getting my date for basic training. It was just like, you're going to drive a truck, and you're probably going to get sent abroad very, very abruptly. Do you know what I mean? That's all I knew.
So, I mean, leaving training then, you went to phase 2 to do your trade training, I suppose?
Yep, up to Leconfield, to an area that I'm very familiar with. Again, I think some people, obviously, things have laxed now. You've passed basic and all the rest of it. Things are a little more laxed. Yeah, you had to march everywhere still, apart from obviously like after 5 o'clock when everything's done for the day. You just pottering about and all the rest of it like everyone else. So obviously, like, you got the phase 3 dudes there as well. Like, they might just need to be there on a FAM course for this or whatever. Phase 2, it was so weird. It was almost like I was a different person in a sense. I mean, yeah, proud passed out of basic. I think one of the moments that I turned the reddest in my life, right, was so throughout Monday to Thursday, right, your bed space is whatever. Do you know what I mean? As long as it's squared away, kit's secure, you can have a duvet, whatever. But Friday was an inspection, right? Every single Friday, without fail, was an inspection. And you had to make the bed, with the itchy blankets and stuff like that. You had to have them all tucked up. Yeah, you had to have, like, hospital corners tucked away right nice and all the rest of it, right? And the reddest I had ever been, right, is I'd made my bed and I thought nothing of it. I thought absolutely nothing of it, right? Anyway, section commander comes in, this full group comes in, and he's looking about, and he calls the entire floor into our room, and he goes, right, have a look at Taylor's bed, right? And they all looked at him, I'm just like, why are they looking at my bed? And he goes, that's the standard I expect. I was like, what? I did something right? What? Do you know what I mean? It was the reddest I'd ever turned in my goddamn life. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, God. But where the relaxation came in, I tried to push the boundaries a little bit. You know how they say, looking back, I'm just like, what a dickhead. They say what's under your berry is yours.
Yeah.
I had short, like, proper short back and sides and all the rest of it. But I'd shaved my fucking rest of my hair into a mohawk to see if I could get away with it. And obviously I did not get away with it.
No.
I got put in front of the sergeant. To be fair, the reason why I said that I did it was I said, I got told that what under the berry is mine, sir. Do you know what I mean? So I got put in front of the sergeant major. And he goes, Taylor, take your fucking headdress off. I went, what? And just this fucking mohawk just flopped to one side or whatever. And he's like, what the fuck is that? And I explained to him, I said, I thought this was the rules. And there was no, like, mega discipline from it. He kind of, I guess, saw the funny side of it and was just like, just go fucking get it cut off, mate. I was like, no worries, sir. Okay. And that was it. Went and got it cut, you know what I mean? That was the end of that. But phase 2, obviously some of the lads that I'd met in phase 1 were there as well. So there was some rapport between a few of us and stuff like that. We were in them old. The walls were like paper. They were like, in fact, there was a guy, and it was sort of like when one guy picks up on something and it spreads around the troop, and it's just like, say, a saying or something like that. Yeah. Well, the saying that we had was "Who thee?" Because what had happened was, I think 2 lads got in a scrap or whatever, and they ended up putting the other through the wall because they were just that thin. They were just so thin. And anyway, the provo from the guard room, they come up and all the rest of it. I want to say the RMP were involved and arresting one of them. And I think the RMP just went to this guy like, "Oh, you're under arrest," and this guy was just like, "Who, me?" So it just just dumb stuff like that. It just melts into your brain. I can't remember a hell of a lot of things, but that is just one thing that I do. Again, with pushing the boundaries as well. I tried wonder webbing the inside of my trousers to keep a constant line in them because I hated ironing.
That's something we used to do. Or a very thin bead of super glue.
Well, this is the thing. I didn't think it through, and obviously, Wonder Web's probably I don't know, half an inch in diameter.
Yeah,
I didn't think it through, did I? And there was like a half. It was just I put them on. It was just like a crease just flopping in front of my trousers. I was like, I'm a mong.
I think I did it once, and I'd never do it again because we used glue, Pritt stick, right?
Oh no,
Pritt stick. And it worked well in lightweight, so it was great. And then we got a changing parade after we got beasted around the block a few times and had to run in and get changed into fucking mess tin order or fucking MBCC or wherever it was. And as I was whipping me lightweights off, the Pritt stick had turned into super glue. And then I had like two straight lines of baldness down my legs. Literally ripped me fucking hairs out. I've never done it again. But stuff like that, you just reminded me of going on guard mount. You know, you used to get a stick man, whoever was the best dressed gets sent off and got away with it. And we would go hell for leather against stick man. So even like in the old combats, you know, before 95, the old temporary combats, you'd put card in your pockets so it was solid. You know, you had an extra set of combats that you never wore. You only wore it for guard. And that was in your locker. You looked after that more than you did your number twos and your best boots. You know, we were lucky where we were at in Gutterslow that there was still an RAF place there, RAF Gutterslow, and you could take your boots over there with a yellow handbag of beer. And they would spray your boots with Tornado nose cone paint and painted leather. And you'd do that, and you kept them boots, and that was just for guard. You know, and I remember running out. You know, I've got a fucking card in my pockets and this, that, and the other. Then your fucking belt's as tight as you can get in. Someone's pulled you in behind and stuff like that. And I'm running out.
Oh, ducktail.
One of my buttons popped off my combat jacket. I was like, fuck. And I haven't got time to like sew it on. So as I'm running out of the accommodation, I looked on the notice board and I pulled some blue tack off. Blue tacked it back on. Right. And I'm getting inspected, and this guy's like, yeah. And he's looking and he's like, there's something wrong there. I can't work out what it is. There's something wrong. And he grabbed me button, pulled it. And this blue tack stretched. Yeah. And he just let go of it. And it dropped down. And then it retracted. So it just moved back up my body slowly, back into position. And he just like, what the fuck? I got fucking basted for that. Belt and barrier into the fucking guard room. Got hammered. But yeah, you just reminded me of shit like that. But we used to use like a very small bead of super glue. I'd go to the tailors and get the seams sewed in, get the crease sewed in, and it looked ridiculous, really. But you know,
you just reminded me of the whole guard thing. And so this is again in Leconfield. I had a girlfriend, obviously from home, and I'm still 17 at this point, right? I'm still, right, and she'd left all these like hickeys and shit all over my neck.
Right.
And it was so visible. Like, it was bad. It was really, really fucking bad, right? And I had guard the next week. Obviously, I'm in front of the guard commander and all the rest of it. I'm at the front of camp because they have like that. I don't know if it's still there now, but as you walk in through the gate, it's like a slight right, and then there's a gate there, like like the or the guards standing. There's like a little box.
Yeah, like the box.
Yeah, and I had to go stand out in the box. And I was like, I need to hide this somehow, right? It was summer, right? So I wore my fleece because it went up to here, right? So I wore my fleece down there. I was like, oh fuck. So anyway, I went down there. Like, are you all right? I was like, yeah, just a bit cold. That's all. Just like trying to blag it. And then I'm stood in this box for ages, absolutely sweating my nuts off. And then luckily, one of the guys I used to go to school with, his mum worked in the NAFI. So I went over to her. I was like, Paula, like, what can I do about this? And she's like, what? She's like, what the fuck? Right. Yeah. And she just gave me a lot of skin-coloured plasters and just slapped them on me. I was like a figure 11 target, mate. Like, with all these mad plasters on me, right? Just loads of plasters. Anyway, I went back to the guard room in a 95 shirt and all these mad plasters on my neck. And they're like, what happened to you? I went, I cut myself shaved.
David.
I got away with it, though. You can't get me now. I'm out.
Yeah. Our guys, that was fucking weird when that came in. I never understood our guys. I really didn't. What a waste of fucking space that is.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly, when it came in, we were like, so I can't give him extras. Not that I fucking want to give anyone extras,
Yeah.
but I was like, I can't give them extras without like doing a formal piece of.
Yeah,
Fuck off, it's
the
pointless.
whole paperwork,
Yeah.
the whole paper trail thing's stupid. Obviously, the punishment behind it is effective. Yeah, just like I love what it says on the paper because do you accept this award? And it's like I won a fucking Oscar here. Do you know what I mean? I was 5 minutes late for a parade or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
accept
it
this
is what it is.
award?
So what was it like turning up to your regiment then? Did you? And I forgot to ask you this. Did you get a choice of where you were getting posted? Did you get preferences or anything, or do you just?
We got a preference sheet.
Yeah.
And obviously you bang it. You know exactly what I'm saying with this. Obviously I want to stay up north because I'm still a kid. I still want to be near my friends and like and all that. And then I put on my little sheet England North, and then I was like, well, Cyprus, because everyone puts Cyprus, don't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if I can get posted to Cyprus, happy days, whatever, right? No, I ended up getting Bristol, right? The complete opposite to the north.
Yeah.
So I was down at 9 Regiment, RLC down in Chippenham, where I spent my entire career. But my first few weeks there, and it was very difficult, because it feels like such a long time ago. When did I tip up there? 2010? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it was just after summer leave, 2010. And I didn't know the MFO system was so goddamn slow. I did not know this, right? So I put a load of my military kit, and I'm talking like trainers and stuff like that, right? I thought, oh, it'd be fine. It'll be there when I get there. Like, it's, you know, I've got 2 weeks because obviously I had summer leave. So I finished everything at Leconfield just before summer leave, had summer leave, come back, and the MFO box wasn't there. I'm like, oh, fuck. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I've still got like a set of 95s boots and all the rest of it, but I haven't got stuff like my PT trainers and all this other stuff. And I'm just like, oh, bollocks. Do you know what I mean? Right. So I still to this day wear big chunky like DCs. Right. So I tipped up to one of my first PT sessions in a set of chunky DCs, right? Because I had literally no other trainers. I had nothing else. And my troop commander came up to me. He's like, Taylor, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, all my stuff is in an MFO box, sir. And he's like, why? And I was like, I thought it'd be here by now. It's been, what, 3-4 weeks? Like, and it's still not here. Like, do you know what I mean? So that was my first introduction to the place. It got better.
Been thinking, fucking more.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh, big time. Do you know what I mean? And then a couple of weeks later, we were going on an exercise, right? And I still hadn't been, because they take all like your Bergen and stuff off you in phase 1, and you don't really need it in phase 2. You just need like a day sack, right? And then obviously I get to my unit. I've got none of this stuff because they never had it in the QMs at the time. And I go down there and they gave me like this handbag type Bergen, you know, with the zip on the top.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? Do you know what I mean? Right. So I went, obviously being a new lad, quite timid, like, well, not timid, but sort of like, I don't know how things work yet. You know, I said to one of my full screws, I was like, I haven't got like a sleeping bag. I haven't got like anything. I mean, and we're off on exercise like next week. And it's like, I haven't got any of this stuff. The QMs don't have it in. What do I do? And he's like, well, beg, borrow, and steal. But the thing is, like, I'm not friends with anyone from any other squadrons yet. So and the entirety of our squadron, which is still a group of strangers to me at the moment, they're all going on it as well. So I'm like, who the fuck what? Who do I ask? So I tried asking about and stuff like no one had anything. Anyway, it comes to the exercise. We get there. It's like, right, luckily it was like, I can't really remember what type of exercise it was, but we were in a hangar. And anyway, they're like, right, go sort out your admin and all the rest of it. And I literally just put down a raw mat. I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, this is all I've got. This is all I have to work with. And they had a go at me for it. And I'm like, hang on a minute. You guys are meant to issue me this, and I haven't got it. This isn't an ish me. This is an issue. Like you know what I mean? Like I did my best to do what I could do to get hold of a sleeping bag. Do you know what I mean? But luckily, one of the full screws had a spare with him and all the rest of it, so it was all right. But I was just like what the fuck? Not the best introduction to my unit.
It'd have been like that. He's a fucking right admin case, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, but that's how they'd have seen it.
Wrong. Yeah, we have had lads who we went on exercise to Jordan, like a 7-week exercise, and a guy rocked up with his wash bag.
Yeah.
Right, and we were like, "Where's your kit?" It didn't come off the plane. We were like, "We unpacked the plane. Everything came off the plane." He hadn't fucking took it with him, and he had one set of kit with him. He ended up that fucking bad that he ended up with scurvies and in a tent on his own because no one was allowed to go near him. He was fucking useless. No, he was a proper admin case. He was useless. He got brown lettered in the end.
My God.
Fucking honestly, fucking. I won't say his name for the want of embarrassing anyone who's got the same surname as him. Fucking hell. But yeah, you do get people like that though. That I think through no fault of their own.
It was just a series of unfortunate events.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? No one told me the MFO system took so long. Do you know what I mean? I send a letter, first class, it gets there tomorrow, if not the day after, right? I'm still thinking that kind of way when it comes to, like, you thought, army, do you know, because again, you've only seen a certain side of it, right? As a civilian, you've only seen a certain side of it, even though, yeah, okay, you could argue I had a little bit more of an insight. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, they, my mum and fella broke up just before I finished phase 1, right? So I didn't really have that insight after that, in the sense of, like, the MFO takes forever. So yeah, it was just a series of unfortunate events. But the good thing is, like, you know, when we got back to the block and all the rest of it, I like to think that I proved myself a little bit on exercise. Like, okay, maybe he's quite switched on that. Like, I don't have to teach him that he needs to put cam cream not on his forehead, because why do people still do that? By the way, it's beyond me. Nice one. Now when you sweat, you're gonna get it in your eyes. Well done, dude.
Yeah.
But so I'd like to think that I'd prove myself a little bit. I had a bit more of a better rapport with everyone and stuff like, because, you know, you're waking up next to these people. It's not just in the room next to them. You're waking up next to these people, you're washing alongside them, all the rest of it. So I built a bit more of a rapport with everyone around me and stuff like that. And the biggest thing, and I think it's sort of like a double-edged sword that sort of got me into a, not position, but like, again, just like, you know, team building and all the rest of it, was block parties. And yeah, dude, that social interaction. I still have pictures of the first block party I was ever involved with on my Facebook. That's where you really start to get to know people as well. Do you know what I mean? You get to see, because they're not in uniform. They're all in their own civilian clothes and all the rest of it. So you can sort of, you know, you can tell what music someone might like because of what they wear. Like, I wear black band t-shirts. Oh, he likes metal. He likes rock and metal. Cool. I now know about him, and I don't even need to speak to him. Do you know what I mean? But it used to be where you'd have like 30, 40 people at a block party. Do you know what I mean? Like, there used to be so many, like, people from other squadrons and stuff like that. They'd come join your block party and you go join theirs. You got to know so many people from different squadrons and stuff like that. I believe that we were one of the biggest RLC units within the British Army as well. So you can imagine there's quite a few squadrons kicking about. And so when it came to like block party culture and stuff like that, like I say, it's a double-edged sword, because drinking and all the rest of it, and the what you call it, there's a word, the reputation that it's built up and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, we did unfortunately have a dude pass away because he drank too much and choked on his own sick, which was why it was his last night at the unit as well. Really good lad. But that's where I started to get to know people. I was like always into my tech as well, so I had like my Xbox, and it actually came to a point where people used to come to my room to sort of party, if you want. Because I had like the projector, I had Guitar Hero, and all this kind of good stuff. Big sound system, and a fridge where people could put the beers in. I swear to God, we must have had about 15, 20 people in my room once. It was, and the rooms ain't big. They were not big. And there was about 15, 20 like pouring out onto the corridor. Do you know what I mean? And it was like that for years. It was crazy. Again, some of the best people I've ever met in my life. And God, yeah,
I get what you're saying about the block parties. And I rocked up at my unit in Germany, and I went to the HQ battery as a clerk. I did a clerk's course, and I got sacked. I was shit at it. I was really shit. And ended up on the guns, which was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
But the block parties, and again, there's a young 17-year-old fucking nig rocking up with guys who were like, you know, in the mid-30s, who seemed so old. They seemed so old to me. You know, I was like, fucking hell, they're ancient. You know, the old grizzly single full screws still in the block.
This guy might have a mortgage, like.
Not in them days, fucking hell.
Well, maybe not.
You were like kind of held them in awe type of thing. And for me, it was a double-edged sword that I was trying to keep up with them. Drinking and
right, I see, yeah.
And they're seasoned. They've been out in Germany for 20 years on the eel, you know. And I'm trying to keep up with it, and I couldn't. And I was fucking comatose most mornings, late for work and stuff like that. I didn't really have a good start to my unit. But you're right about meeting people outside of work. You get to know them better, and you do end up with. It helps, when you go to work, because you've been out on the piss the night
big
before,
time.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I say, as a young gunner for me, rocking up to the regiment, everyone just seemed so more experienced and older, and I wouldn't say we got picked on. I've spoken to plenty of guys who did when they got to the units, they got fucking bullied. We don't ever like to say the bullied word. We like to say, banter or fucking character building, but definitely bullied. I was quite lucky with our regiment that I didn't see much of that going on, or I didn't see it as bullying, really. The old character, tying people up, fucking covering them in grease and stuff like that. It's just a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
And most people do take it that way, but when you look back on it, it's fucking physical bullying.
The hairs in behind. Yeah, you're just like, oh shit. Yeah.
But it's at the time, it's like, yeah, all right, and then you just wait till it's your turn now, and then you're just sat waiting for the next load of recruits to come in, and it'll be their turn, and it's not you. That type of thing. Did you experience any of that while you?
No, I never actually experienced anything like that I remember. I remember being part of doing it to other people and stuff like that. We had this one guy who was from Wolves, and you couldn't tie him up. He was a big lad, so you'd lose anyway. But the only thing we could really do was like mock his accent. Do you know what I mean? He's like, "Oh, you're right, man, right." That's how he sounded to us. Like, as I'm emphasizing it there, but we all used to do it to him. We all used to like take the mick and stuff like that. And I think one of the good things about being in the military is that you develop the confidence and conviction. Because what this guy did, instead of going down the route of, I'm being bullied here, he's thought about it, right? He's gone, these guys don't see it as bullying, but it's starting to affect me now, right? I'm going to go speak to them. And that's what he did. He came to my room and he goes, can I speak to you for a minute? I was like, yeah, dude, sure, what's up? And he's like, I don't like this. It's starting to negatively affect me. I was like, cool, send him on, man. That was it. Done. Yeah. No one else did it. Do you know what I mean? He went round and he spoke to people and stuff like that.
That is for him to do that. That's not just about military. He's got a pair of balls to do that.
Oh yeah, and like I say, it stopped. He was a massively respected member of the team. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's one of those like if anyone came to my door and said, "Yo, this is affecting me. Can you please stop?" Like it would stop. Do you know what I mean? Because I value them. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's quite important. Because you don't want people. You want to be able to have banter, but when it crosses that line, everyone's got a respect for each other to a point. Do you know what I mean? And it literally, like I say, overnight stopped.
I mean, absolutely stopped. We all hear stories of things that do go and cross the line. I have seen, and probably in my time being party of it as well, of overstepping the mark, and you don't appreciate it. So as I say again, in my day, in the old days, Napoleonic Wars and shit.
Back in 1066.
Yeah, I see that bloke with an arrow on his head. That was, you didn't, because it happened to me, or you accepted it that it's got to happen to someone else, and you become party of that, but you don't appreciate, especially as a fucking young fucking idiot, you don't appreciate the effect that it can have on people. And in these days, nobody fucking spoke up about anything. We didn't speak about mental health because it didn't exist. We didn't. Somebody didn't say right, fucking have a word with him because he's fucking. Unless it really went bad or something went wrong. I mean, I've seen guys. And I mean, it was funny. Fuck, it was funny. So one of the biggest initiations we used to have in our battery was we'd put two guns together. And the stays that we would use to pull the barrel through, you'd grab someone in their coveralls and throw it through their arms.
Right,
the ends of it in the barrels, and then you'd elevate the barrels. And they just
did something similar, yeah.
Yeah, and you just leave them there all day. And if they did complain, you'd rip the bottom of the coveralls off, literally cut them off them. And then, the old graphite grease,
yes,
fucking wherever it was, you'd just fucking cover them in that, in their nether regions. And now it sounds really, really wrong. When you look at it, you cover his bollocks in fucking grease. You're like,
yeah,
really? Is there any undertones going on there?
This stuff I got from the Kosh locker. I'm going to apply it to the most.
This carcinogenic grease that we've got. Yeah, you're going to get a bit of that. We did it to this lad once, and he was fucking laughing his head off, to be honest. but we'd stripped him naked and done it, and black nastied to the poles and then hung him up, because he fought back. And they had an inspection going on that we didn't know was happening. And the assistant adjutant came round to check the garages out. And in them days, the assistant adjutant were generally women, like the Women's Royal Army Corps and all that. And we walked into the garages and, yeah. Right, okay, what are you doing there? And he tried standing to attention in midair, which I thought was a good...
Stand to attention when you're in bed. Have you seen that video?
Yeah. And she just looked at him and he said, "Hello, ma'am, I would salute, but I'm a bit preoccupied." And she just went and walked off. There's always, didn't bat an eyelid type of thing. So shit like that happens, but it can overstep the mark. I have seen people who it affected them quite badly later on in careers and stuff like that. Where I've seen it, didn't appreciate it when I was younger. When I was older, and now after being, now I'm a veteran. I'm not really keen on that word for myself. You hear the stories of lasses like we spoke about the young lads, which. So what I'm trying to get at is for him to have the courage to go and confront you is really, really good. That's down to him. Whereas it goes the other way, and bad things happen. People take their lives because of it and stuff like that.
That's what I mean. Like we did touch on it a little bit earlier, and like I say, like are we all right to talk about that, or I don't. So with that young female gunner, like the saddest thing is, and I mentioned this earlier, is the fact that she felt that she couldn't do what my boy did. She felt that she couldn't do that, and that is the saddest thing I have heard, because that never really happened at my unit. Within my troop lines, it never happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, if everyone looked after each other, do you know what I mean? Even if you didn't like the dude, do you know what I mean? If he, said this is, having my brain away or whatever, do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're a team at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've still got to tip up to work with this person, and you want to make sure that they're in best condition so that everyone else on the team doesn't suffer for it as well. Do you know what I mean? That's if you don't like them. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, fucking heartbreaking, dude. It fucks with me. When I heard about it, it actually made me fucking angry, because it's like, and the ranks that were involved with that, that's fucking insane too. That is fucking, like, you all hear about, like the lassie that might sleep with the sergeant or whatever, right? You always hear about these little stories and all the rest of it. But it weren't just sergeant, it was like fucking commissioned officers and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And no wonder she felt like she couldn't fucking go anywhere, because when you're getting into the commission ranks, who the fuck's going to listen to you after that? Because if you go up the chain of command, it's going to stop at that fucking sergeant, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
That's the sad thing. I mean,
fucking...
As I said to you about it before we started recording, when we were talking about it, what galled me was the artillery.
Yeah.
I'm ex-artillery. You'd like to think that stuff like that doesn't happen. But to be honest, the pulling of rank, the closing of ranks, not the pulling of ranks. The closing of ranks happens. And it happens all the fucking time. I've seen it. I've probably been party to it on certain occasions. People are too worried about their own career.
Yeah.
And that is it's with this case, in my opinion, and in lots of other cases that have happened, where things should have been mentioned before and they haven't been, is generally that someone's too worried about, shit, if this comes out, I won't get promoted. Even if they had nothing to do with it, they were in charge of the person who was below them. You should have known what they were doing. You should have known what they were doing. The shit goes downhill. Yeah. But it should be going that way. But it does. Something like that. The person who's there is worried about, if this comes out, my promotion, I'm not going to get me staffy. I'm not going to get me WO2. I'm not going to get commission. I'm not going to get LE. I'm not going to fucking whatever. So the dude sent it, and it's you're my mate. I've known you fucking. I said, put it this way, I did 27 years, right, and I got to the highest rank of full screw. I was a full screw for fucking when I left the army, right. So most of the guys I knew, through my career through the army, they were fucking going like that while I'm slowly edging up like that, and it was So I knew, my cohort, let's call it that, were sergeant majors, but LEs and stuff like that for the guys who were my age and stuff. And so I got like kind of on with them. I got left alone. You know that fat old full screw who sits in the training wing or in our HQ and there's nobody
Oh
knows
yeah,
what he does.
we had a
That
full
was
screw.
me.
He could read the JSP to you, mate. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? He really
Yeah.
could.
That was me. And there's places for people like that in the army. There really is. I advocate that because that was me. I knew these guys and I watched them progress through their careers. And on more than one occasion, things have been covered up so that somebody could get promoted. And, you know,
I hear
no
that.
name's not quite real, but it happens. And it's the way it goes. You know, it happens in Civvy Street as well. It happens in Civvy
Yeah.
companies as well.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But my feeling on it is I think that my moral compass is quite a fucking strong one. Do you know what I mean? I think that my moral compass is quite a strong one. And if you're going round and you're saying, yo, don't fucking say this shit because it could cost me my promotion, or, you know, if you're the guy that's trying to cover it up, right, you are on the wrong side of the argument, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
And
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you.
If something is wrong, call it the fuck out. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's been a few times where I've had to call some bullshit out. Do you know what I mean? It's probably why I never promoted, to be fair. I've got conviction. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will. Even now, there's things that are going on in my personal life, and I'll call motherfuckers out every single time, and I don't care. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just reminded me of something else then. I remember reading one of my SJARs and it said, I don't know why he's not a sergeant, although he may suffer from speaking his mind now and again.
Yeah.
Which I was
the
quite
thing is,
of.
Yeah, I was always told that sometimes the gobbiest soldier is probably one of the better ones, to be honest. You know what I mean? I got told that. I can't remember who said it to me, but it in a way, it does carry true because it's sort of like, all right, he might not progress far in his career. Do you know what I mean? At my place, there was a corporal and a warrant officer, right, who went through basic at the same time and stuff like that. But they were both very decent with me and all the rest of it. But obviously, I felt a bit close to the full screw because he was a full screw for a start. Yeah. He's more relatable. But he had conviction about me. He had morals and stuff like that, and I got on really well with him. Do you know what I mean?
You've just reminded me of another SJAR.
Oh yeah,
that I had. It was just a line that you said there was literally in that SJAR. This soldier may never progress further than his current rank, but he will always remain an extremely likable rogue. And I was just like, what the fuck's that? I thought it was mint.
I would have laminated that. I'd have framed it. That is cool.
I loved it. I thought it was great. It was from a tour. It was a tour.
I don't remember reading any of my SJARs because I was like, I'm not promoting this year. I don't care.
Support. Just sign that. Yeah.
Yeah, nice one.
It was on a tour I did. I come back and they wrote it was an operational SJAR or CR in them days. It was before SJARs. And I had to go to the battery commander and he read it. He goes, read that. I read it and I had the biggest grin on my face. And he was just like, you shouldn't be smiling. That's a career stopper. And he ripped it up. He says, I'll rewrite that. And he rewrote it fucking with better words, like type of thing. But I was like, I thought that was fucking mint. You know what I mean? So what was it like in your unit then? What was like? What did you get up to? Because I don't know what I know about that much about the artillery, as most of us do. Like fuck all about the artillery because we're all very insular. We don't really see what other arms do and stuff like that. You know, the trades.
So to be fair, like as a driver, your day-to-day sort of stuff, there isn't much to be doing. You'll find yourself that you'll clean the same drops windscreen maybe 2-3 times in the week, and a lot of the time is spent in the restroom, sort of, throwing stuff at each other and calling each other dickheads and stuff like that.
Yeah. So not very different to being in the artillery.
Exactly. The army's such a weird place, isn't it? It's sort of like it's the only job that I can think of where you are trained just in case you have to go and do the job you signed up to do.
Yeah. And spend a lot of time with a broom in your hand.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Sweeping the hangar. My God. Yeah, I've done that a few times. Luckily for me, I ended up getting put into the unit servicing bay. So, obviously, vehicles had to be regularly serviced and all the rest of it, like your Civic car does, right? And so, there was me, a Lance Jack, a sergeant, and a captain. That was it. And the sergeant and the captain worked down in the QMs. So, it was just me and this Lance Jack. So we were responsible for like booking the vehicles in, making sure people had 601 ones, which are like instructions on how to do the service, on which service you're doing. We're in charge of the tools. We inspected the lifting gear, making sure that the stores had sufficient stuff in there, like filters, spill kit, all that kind of stuff. Making sure the board was up to date, health and safety, mega. Just there was always something to be doing in the servicing bay. So I was quite fortunate in that, because it's really weird, because I really did find myself in the army. I really found what I liked. Do you know what I mean? Before I was just some goth fucking skater fucking dude, right? But I wasn't just that guy. I was also the guy that people would come and talk to about their car. If their car had an issue, I love my cars now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It did just something that just about it just made me tick. And I'd be, although I probably shouldn't have been, I'd be in the servicing bay at like 1 o'clock in the morning with my own Civic car up on a ramp, taking a turbo off and stuff like that. Do you know, I really fucking found myself in this place. So yeah, I got known as one of the fucking car guys. There was a few of us. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, the easy every unit, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, no, just really found myself in that, in what I enjoyed doing and stuff like that. So it wasn't just tech, it wasn't just gaming, it wasn't just skateboarding and being a drunk dickhead and all the rest of it.
So we have a lot in common, apart from the skateboarding bit, because I've not been on a skateboard since about 1982.
Yeah.
But the car bit, I totally get with you. Before I got back into computers, and I was known as the fucking techie nerd in the regiment, and everyone used to come to me for, oh, I've got a virus. Yeah, let's have a look. I loved cars. Bangonomics. I'd buy shit cars, drive them into the ground, but keep them going. Fucking hell, me and my mate changed. I had a Talbot Horizon, right? And I paid about 30 quid for or something like that. Engine blew. Went up with a scrap. He's got one. And we took it down the hangar. And it didn't have any ramps or anything like that. But you know the old like chain pulleys with the hook on?
Yes.
There was one of them. And that's how we lifted the car up. It was fucking swinging backwards.
Swinging
and
about.
Yeah. We just held it. Cracked the beer. We'll swap an engine over it. And we did it. But I mean,
yeah.
In the same thing, front fucking hell, health and safety, there was none. Sneaking in the garages at night to use that hoist again to do a starter motor on a Mick Crossan's Ford Sierra. His starter motor. Wow. He brought one down. He said, "Can you do that?" So towed him up the garages. The hangar. Snuck in with it, and then how the fuck am I going to lift it up? I don't know. Front towing eye on that hook, and then hoisted the front of the car up. I said, just keep holding it. And I'm fucking laid underneath it like that. Thinking back now, like, fucking idiot. What a fucking balance. If that had, it was going to be all right. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I used to love working on cars. I had one lass come and knock on my door once. I've been on holiday for a month, but I can't move the car. Can you come out and have a look at it? I was like, first of all, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
But I went over and had a look. I says, oh yeah, the brakes are just seized. Went back over, got a hammer, smacked the back wheel, and off she went. I said, oh, nice one. She goes, I'm really glad you Remy lads live around here. I said, I'm not in the fucking Remy. She was like, oh, the fuck that? So it's not hard.
Yeah.
To say, because I'm a man, but I never said that, honestly, never. I never. She'd have probably never. No, I would never say that. She'd kick the shit out of me. So and like you say, you always get guys in each regiment's got them, each unit's got them. The guys who were always buying and selling cars as well.
Yeah.
There was some shady fucker like that as well.
Oh, dude, yeah. I'm not going to name him. He is a good friend of mine, but he was ex-parachute regiment, and he then joined us the RLC. I have no evidence to support this, okay? Other than this one time. So I helped him. He used to throw like military-themed birthday parties and stuff like that. Kids who were like the army and stuff like that. He had some of the kit at home. He was like, yeah, I'll do this. And he invited me down as like a 2IC, right? And I did that anyway. He drops me off in his van, right? And he goes, "You're quite a big lad, you ain't you?" I was like, I don't know. you never really look at yourself like that, do you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, he goes, "If you want some extra work, mate, just let us know." And I said, "What would you have in mind?" And he's like, "Well, I go around collecting money for one of my mates." And I was like, "Oh, it's that guy." So I think he had some fingers in some pies. That's the only evidence I've got to support that. So don't sue me. Yeah, again, he was just one of the funniest dudes as well. Just one of the funniest dudes. But like I said, like going back to the whole car thing, like I had this, it was a Mark IV Vauxhall Astra, SXI 1.6, nothing fucking, big dick or anything like that. my buddy gave me his old air filter. You know, the sort of like the Ram Air performance
K&N filter
type.
and all
Yeah,
that,
yeah. I think it was a K&N actually. And he gives me it, and I'm like, what do I do with this? And he's like, put it on your car. I'm like, can you show me how? He's like, yeah, sure, dude. So we popped the bonnet, took the old box out, put it all on. And just from that process on, I was just like, I liked that. That made me tick. What is going on? And then next thing I know, like I ended up buying, I was like, I really like the platform of this car, right? But I want it to be faster. And I know I'm not going to get that performance out of this engine. And then one of the other lads, he'd just been posted in, Irish lad, and he had a Astra VXR. And he's like, have you heard of the GSI Turbo? And I was like, no, what's this? So I looked it up. I was like, I'm getting one of those. I'm getting one, and I did. And I went with my my 4-year commitment bonus. I went and bought a GSI Turbo, and then gave my old black Astra to my mother. And yeah, I was just like, this is fucking cool. And it led me into a place not just inside a camp, but I had loads of civvy mates in Bristol as well, because I used to go to like car meets with some of the boys on camp. And I started getting on really well with other people outside of the military as well. We did actually, we ended up collectively running a car, like a car club. And we invited UK Homes for Heroes.
Yeah.
We invited them along because I had a good rapport with the owners. And yeah, through an event, some money from cars and stuff like that. It was just a really good social tool. And like, if I could use that monetarily towards a cause that I care about, like the possibilities with it were endless and stuff like that. And I ended up, like I say, meeting all these new people and stuff like that. And it was actually a guy that I met from the Signals who ended up being, he was a different unit, but he was very local. He ended up being one of my closest mates as well. And he was into the 90s Japanese stuff, right? Yeah. He had an R34 Skyline, right?
Oh.
Like I say, we built up a really, really good friendship. And one time, because he was married, so I was around his pad just hanging out with him and his dog and his wife. And he said, do you want to go shop? Yeah, can do, man. Let's go. And he chucks me the keys to the Skyline. Like, what are you doing? He's like, you drive there if you want. I was like, you sure? What the fuck? And he's like, yeah. So anyway, he fired it up and all the rest of it, let it warm up, and then we took it to the garage. And there's this corner, and this is quite a pivotal point for me when it comes to like my little car journey. Okay, so approaching this corner, and he's like, yo, fucking punch it, dude, like put your foot down. And I was like, it ain't my car to do that, man. Like, I'm used to this front wheel drive kind of thing, right? Anyway, I went around this car, got to the shop, and he was like, you took that like a fucking pussy, dude. So he was like, let's swap over. And he put this fucking car around this corner at 100, right? And honestly, it was 100 miles an hour. I watched the clock, and he put it around this car, and the car just stuck to the rod. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was just sold on it immediately. Now I own an R34 Skyline. Yeah. I was just like, I need one of these in my life. This is just something just completely different.
When we were in Germany, a lot of the lads used to obviously buy tax-free cars and stuff like that. Yes. There was a couple of guys who were very clever. So what they used to do is Japanese imports, right? But they'd bring them through Cyprus. So they'd get the SVA in Cyprus.
Okay.
They'd get imported into Germany under the BFG scheme. And because they were over 10 years old, they didn't need like the test straight away. So they got 30 days. You get 30 days basically before you've got to get it tested. Within that 30 days, they'd have them back to the UK to sell. Right?
Yeah.
And because they've never been registered in the UK, they're one-owner cars. You get your sheet off the BFG, but it's still not registered in the UK because BFG then had its own DVLA, let's call it that, but it's called BFG. So cars were registered there. We had our own number plates and stuff like that. You know, the number plate, we didn't pay tax and this, that, and the other. So they'd put your cars in, especially MX-5s. They were always going MX-5s and 4x4s. They'd bring them in. They'd literally spend a couple of days there, and then it was shipped over to the UK and sold for a profit. And these couple of lads never touched their wages in about 10 years because they were making the money off that. And the only thing they couldn't bring over was the Skylines. Because you couldn't stand drive headlights for them.
Right, but, yeah.
Because you still needed them to get them tested, to bring them onto the system. And so they couldn't get the headlights for them, so they could never get one. But they used to use a website called Izzy Bike. And they used to come around my house because I had fucking decent internet. And they'd be bidding on these cars, and I'd be sat there going, I want one of them, I want one of them. I always wanted a Mitsubishi Galant bi-turbo.
Oh, yes.
It's not called Galanto, is it? It's called something else. I can't remember. I can't remember. Fucking hell. Anyway, we'll be so stuck here fucking forever going here. But you know, like you say, in every unit, there's little microcosms of different things. You know, these two guys bought and sold cars. There was another lad had a minibus and used to try and pick it home at weekends and stuff like that. You know, his minibus was kitted out with PlayStations and fucking all sorts in a fridge, and you'd pay him €50 and he'd drive you from northern Germany through the tunnel to England every weekend type of thing. So he made his money that way. But I mean, going on about JDM cars, I mean, my daily drive is a Jag XF. You know, I wanted a flash car this time, so I kind of got one. But I've more than recently got a JDM as well, and I call it a JDM.
Okay.
It's a Ford Frida, the same as a Mazda Bongo.
Oh, yes.
In 95, it is. I go camping in it every now and again. It's fucking great. Love it. It's
That's
like
mega.
It's like driving a Pinsgauer. It's meant. I fucking love it driving it. It's so high up and that. You just like, it's great. Anyway, enough about that shit. We've coming towards the end of your career now. So, I mean, obviously, I did fucking many more years than you. So I'm not going to say, yeah, well, you got out, you're a fucking wanker. You didn't do it long enough. But you didn't do very long, you wanker. But it doesn't bother me, shit like that. You know, I've interviewed guys. I think the shortest serving guy I had on here was just over 3 years. But I think that was because he was one of the first to get caught on CDT. That was quite an interesting podcast.
Yeah.
He had a very different.
I know a guy who can beat him. I know a guy who can beat 3 years, and I'm talking probably under 2 years. So yeah, he was in my basic. He was in a sister troop to us. He'd gone through basic. He was a supplier, so he went to a different phase 2. And then I saw him again at unit. I was like, "Oh, how are you doing? He's a Scouse dude, yeah." And it must have been like 2 weeks that we were there, and the CDT was called. And he pissed hot, mate. Dude, what are you doing? Like, you've just bust your ass to get here, and now you're getting shipped straight out the door, man, before it's even begun. Like, fucking really nice guy, but just silly move, man.
You know, I've seen guys who were getting promoted to staff sergeant and they picked up a gunning careers course, and they were staff sergeant. And that night they were celebrating in the mess, and somebody walked into the toilets, and he was fucking chopping up on the cistern, and they're just like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah.
What? You know, and he was literally gone. He was out the regiment the next day, gone out the army. And he just like, what a fucking waste.
That's wild. I heard there was a warrant officer who did it, probably like, you know, knows beers or whatever. And I heard, like I said, this is a second-hand dit, but he apparently got sent to rehab and was allowed to continue his service. That is something I heard.
I agree with that. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, you can't retrain that knowledge.
No, when I got court-martialed in my early years. Went to Collie for 96 days. And while I was at Collie, you've got A Wing, which is soldier on, and the D Wing, which is discharge, and I think C Wings are females, I can't remember. But discharge wing, there was a sergeant major came in there, and in them days it was a pay corps, so it was before AGC and stuff like that. And he was being busted private and then going to Civvy Nick. And I mean, you got to remember the guy was a fucking WO2, so coming towards the end of his career.
Yeah.
And he's lost it all. You know, he's going to jail for like fucking 10 years as well.
Oh.
So what he did, and I don't know if should take my hat off to him, because fucking what a way to go. They're out in Batters, right, in Canada.
Yeah.
And he's gone down to the bank to withdraw all the money for the R&R, right, for the battle group, to issue out to the fucking subunits, and then you go and get your fucking cash payment and all that, you know, comes out your wages later and all that, and that's how you do it. He never came back to camp.
Oh, shit.
He just fucked off. Spent like 2 years dusting around fucking Canada with all his cash.
What the fuck? That's
having the
wild.
time of his life, and then just fucking rocked up and went, right, I'm here. I've fuck knows what went through his head. You know, I'd love to fucking question him about that and say, why? He must have had a fucking breakdown or something. He's got to have, you know what I mean? But whatever. Just doing that, just like, fuck this, I'm off. He's got a fucking bag full of money. Fucking going.
That's just burst a little bit of a second-hand dit into my own brain just now. So whilst I was at Lecky, apparently there was an old fella, and he was, you know, proper old dude. And apparently he knocked onto, he went to the guard room and he handed in a Mod 90, and it was his Mod 90. And he's like, yeah, I went AWOL for like ever, like literally until now. So here's my Mod 90. I'm gonna go now. And he did. He buggered off. Like, you can't do anything to that guy.
Right, so The reason I got court-martialed is because I went AWOL. That
Okay.
was the second time I'd been AWOL. I went AWOL for like 7 months. I was on a dole. I got married and everything.
Bloody hell.
But the first time I went AWOL, it was only a couple of weeks. I just didn't fancy going back. And I got picked up by the police at my mum and dad's, and they took me down to Woolwich. Well, I went to magistrate's court. That was fucking weird. And I got remanded in custody until the army could pick me up. So they were like, what the fuck? Even the police were like, what? So I went back to the police station in Grantham. My parents were living there, and then waited there for a day until they sent someone up for me. And basically, the RMPs turned up and took me to Woolwich. Camp. And I was locked up there, waiting for a flight back to Germany. And there was loads of us in there, all for the same reason. There was about 5 lads from a regiment called 49. It doesn't exist now. And they'd come back for a funeral. And after the funeral went, fuck this, we're having another week. So they stayed for another week. They just went on a piss.
Yeah.
And then when they ran out of money, the cheeky bastards, the careers office, right, and asked for a cash payment and a rail warrant. And they were giving it. So they just fucked off again for another week and then got caught. But while we were there then, and that story you just mentioned there happens more than you think. There was a guy rocked up at the gate and went, look, I need to hand myself in because my daughter's getting married. And I don't want to, I don't want to get caught. I don't want to, fucking put a dampener or the damn squid on marriage. And they were like, what you want about, mate? And he went, I'm in the army. I'm in the artillery. And I've been AWOL for 25 years. And they were like,
wow.
All right, okay, come in. Brought him into the guard room, made him a brew and all that. Rang the orderly officer. Orderly officer went, right, who are you? Blah, blah, blah. What's your number? He made a phone. We were all sat in the back of the guard room like, fucking hell, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then they got in touch with HQ, like artillery at headquarters. And they went, we've even got mail for him here. And they says, right, okay, what should we do with him then? They says, well, keep him there the night and we'll let you know tomorrow what to do. So they brought him in, put him in the officer's mess for the night, dined him, got him pissed and everything like that. And then the next morning, they paid him money that he was owed. Right?
Oh, God.
Right,
Back paying for 25 years?
No, for about the first 6 days
say.
of the month until he went AWOL or something like that.
Right, Roger.
He got paid and he got some of his old mail that was there and he's like course reports and shit like that. His
That's insane.
They give him that, fucking shook his hand and said thanks very much, for being honest. And off he went. I think they gave him a real warrant to get home as well.
That's amazing. I love that so much.
But that happens a lot more than you think because for the first 28 days, the army looks after you. Or looks for you, right? They don't, right? Or this is happening in my day, right? They'd look for you for 28 days. And then after 28 days, you get took off unit strength and you go on a Y list and you get put on there. And then it gets passed over to the police. And the police don't see it as a civil offence. If they've got time to investigate it, they will. They'll go knock on the door and say, is he here? No, right, cheers, I'm off. And then they'll go, and there's AWOL and there's desertion, right? So desertion was a minimum of 2 years, that type of thing. But to prove desertion is quite hard. You got like, they say you got to cut your ID card up and shit like that bollocks. But it's a fucking weird thing. When I got caught the second time, I went to put me in Nick in Jarrah where I was stolen. MPs come and pick me up, then put me in Nick in Core. I don't know where that come from. For a Catterick. I was there for about 3 days until my unit came up from the south coast to pick us up, and they sent 4 lads in the Land Rover to pick me up. So I don't know why, and they handcuffed me. Fuckers. I mean, mates, I've known them years. Right, you've got handcuffs, got in the battle rover. Fucking hell. They stopped at like halfway down at the services, and they all got out to go and get a Matty D's. Left me in a fucking rover in handcuffs. I'm like, I think, you fuckers, I could just jump in the front and drive off. Yeah. I left the keys and everything. I didn't, obviously.
Yeah.
Plus because I was handcuffed as well. And I didn't drive then either.
It's kind of hard. I mean, the Land Rover gearboxes as well. It's sort of like first is up here, second's like down here somewhere, third is
in the
around
back.
Here.
And you get out and go around the back to put it in the fourth,
Yeah.
And I remember getting back to my unit and I thinking, I'm the fucking big I am now. You know what I mean? I've been away fucking blah, blah. I'm going to refuse to soldier.
I'm a badass.
And Provost Sergeant went, go and stand over there. I went, no. And he went, fucking what? Don't fucking tell me now. I said, I'm not listening. I'm refusing to soldier. That lasted about 3 minutes before I got fucking dig in the fucking chin. Stopped. And 6 to 8 days close arrest. Christmas, New Year, my 21st birthday, Christmas and New Year in Nick. And then court-martial, 96 days in Collie. And didn't get into trouble after that. Again, I might have done a few times, but
lying shy.
I fucking put it this way: I never got my Ellison GC ever. I might have been close to it once if I did another couple of years after my 27, but nah, fucking that. So what made you want to leave then?
I didn't want to leave. I was mid-discharge, unfortunately. There was a lot of stuff going on sort of like back home and stuff like that, and it started taking quite a negative effect on me and all the rest of it. I ended up going through like DCMH and all the rest of it, and ultimately they came to the decision that it was probably best to discharge me. Like, I'll be open and honest about it. I think it's quite important to talk about. There was a couple of, you know, unaliving attempts and stuff like that. I was just mentally in a completely different place as to where I am now. Yeah, that's the pretty much long and short of it, without going into, you know, like reasons, like family reasons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately I wasn't prepared to leave at all. I literally thought, you know, when you join, you think you're going to die with your boots on, don't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was actually scared of this question because the road from there was very difficult, and it's stuff that I'm still dealing with now. When I left the camp gates for the last time, I ended up going back up to Yorkshire for a little bit. There are things that happened to me after leaving that I have not spoken about, that a lot of the people who I called friends that I met after leaving don't know about, but they perceive me in a different way because they never asked. They never spoke to me. It's things that I'm still dealing with now. There are a handful of people, like, through like my social media journey and stuff like that, like, who know what has happened and such. But ultimately, I think the most difficult thing is finding your place in the world again. And you perceive things in such a way that you think it's kind of... I believe when I left, I was probably the most vulnerable I've ever been.
You lose self-worth as well.
Yes. Yeah, you do, and especially being med-discharged as well.
Yeah. I mean, sorry to interrupt there.
No, sorry.
Just to get or to give people a bit more of a hold on the situation as well. So, being medically discharged for mental health problems in the military. One, you know, I got out in 2012, and I'd seen guys get MD'd for the same thing, or for the same symptoms, or whatever you want to call it. And when somebody in the military seeks help, and very, very few do, but when you put your hand up and say, I've got an issue, in my experience, in them days, the army was really bad at dealing with it.
Yeah.
Not so much treatment-wise and stuff like that, because that goes off to the medical corps, or to, you know, that type of thing. Or you end up with the Queen's ranks and stuff like that. But the unit itself doesn't.
Yeah.
You know that thing where we closed ranks and stuff? They get shunned, and I'm fucking sorry not to say it, but they do.
They do, yeah.
It's because people don't know what to do. And, you know, we didn't have the training really to, one, recognise it in others. I think it's a lot better now, but in my day, you didn't have the training to recognise it in people, and maybe to reach out to them and talk to them and say, hey, you know, are you all right? You know, just that question, are you all right?
Yeah,
you know,
just
having
that conversation.
Whether they want to answer that or not is a different matter. But are you okay? You know, do you want to talk? Because again, we don't talk, and one of the reasons I do this podcast is hopefully to get people on and come and talk about their story. And I've heard many fucking funny stories and some harrowing stories. It got me thinking about my own life, and I ended up getting counselling myself last year because of it, and realised that I needed it. But I think that the army doesn't treat you with the respect. The respect.
Yeah, I'd agree. Respect is the word. Yeah, it's sort of like mine wasn't induced by the military whatsoever. Do you know what I mean?
It doesn't matter.
But at the same time, there was an element of it, of the sort of... I wasn't shunned by my peers or anything like that. Everyone still knew me as fucking, you know, Stretch, goofy, our guy, does his thing, you know. Everyone still knew me as that, even whilst I was going through like the whole discharge process, the mental health process, and all the rest of it. And I will take my hat off to my squadron sergeant major at the time. There was a mess do over at the Full Screws mess, right? And I didn't want to go. I didn't want to be around people. It was just, there was so much going on, right? And I was just sat in my room, literally just sat there. And it's probably the worst place that you can be, is by yourself, you know. And there was a knock on my door, and I opened it, and it was my squadron sergeant major. And he goes, "You all right, mate?" I noticed that you weren't at the do. Is everything okay? And we had a chat. So I like where there is an element of it, things are getting better with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's a good thing, and it's very fucking important. Do you know what I mean? It's the fact that it kind of made me feel a sense of like, even though this guy, you know, he's a warrant officer and all the rest of it, he has that respect for me to actually, you know, go away from what he's doing. And this is out of hours as well. Do you know what I mean? At a mess function. And he's come over to find me because he's noticed that I'm not there. I'm not with the rest of the blocks, the rest of the team. And that meant a lot to me. And I don't think I ever told him that. Do you know what I mean? So it's, yeah.
I mean,
me.
that's good. You know, it helps.
Mm.
I mean, it really does help. And the thing, it also instills a little bit of the family. You know, we all bang on about, oh, we were in the army, we were veterans, you know, this, that, and the other. You know, we're a family and stuff like that. And in some, you know, in a lot of cases, it's not actually the fact. But when something like that happens, it does give you the confidence and the knowledge that someone does, and to get it from within your own unit like that. Because like I say, I've seen it where literally people were fucking shunned, and not just like through mental health problems, just like, right, they're getting MD'd, or even that they've signed off. You know, when somebody signed off, they were like a pariah almost. You know, the lads were like, fucking get in, haven't you know, you've signed off, have the bollocks to do it, nice one, mate, fucking good luck. Right, and then you've got a year to go, and within that year, sometimes your life's shit because the fucking
there's no, you can't go on this training thing because there's no point. Why would we train you? We're not going to put more money into
training. Fuck you, you're on guard, type of stuff like that. And you know, it happens. But because you've got that year of fucking whatever, you know, it's going to affect them people as well. But you know, I mean, for yourself, it must have been quite hard. Do you feel that the army supported you health-wise, or was it they couldn't wait to get rid of you? What you went through DKMH and stuff like that. The treatment there, was it good? Or was it just like, fucking right, quick, get rid of him?
So my sister now, she is a forensic psychologist, and stuff like that. So she knows a little bit about the whole, you know, mental health type thing. And they discharged me under the grounds of borderline personality disorders,
right?
Which, if no one's familiar with that, is quite a broad spectrum of that. Do you know what I mean? In that sense, there wasn't, you know, much further investigation into that. My sister believes it's a misdiagnosis. She thinks it's other things. You know, my sister's going to know me better than some guy that I met up with once every 2 weeks or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of column A, bit of column B. Yes, no. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was supported by my troop, my squadron. The guys didn't treat me any different, and to be recognised, the fact that I wasn't at a place where everyone else was, even though I wasn't at that time part of the squadron because I was up at the servicing bay, right? Do you know what I mean? So I was detached from the squadron. Like I said, there's a bit of column A, a bit of column B, to be fair, which obviously from your experience and stuff like that, like the way that you saw some of the blokes get treated, and to be fair, like I'd seen some of the guys get treated the same way before they left. Do you know what I mean? But in that short amount of time, things were getting better, and I hope things are getting better. Like you say, there's the whole like man up culture. There was the whole, do you know what I mean? It's for soldiers to actually, like you say, go out and actually get help. It doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, these things that I mentioned happened to me in 2021. Obviously after leaving, and it's only now that I'm actually getting the help for it. And again, it's just applying a discipline to myself as well. Taking stuff from the military. Sea drills, big one. Like, I learned from these people who said they were my friends and all the rest of it. You know, they didn't give a shit. They didn't give a, I'm not used to that. Do you know what I mean? So from what I went through, no one wanted to hear about it from me. Which is, you know, the sense of betrayal, and you're just not used to that. You're just not used to it.
It's hard, you know, again, fucking guilty as charged, you know, until I'd started the journey that I'm on now. I say the journey that I'm on now, fucking, I sound like a hippie.
Well, no,
and I've got no fucking hair, you know what I mean? But I would have been probably one of them. because it's uncomfortable to listen to someone's story and to try and not. Yes, it is uncomfortable to listen to someone's story, but it's also really hard to give advice because you don't go through it yourself. I've not, and the only way I've been able to help, and I'm not a counsellor. I'm not fucking blowing my own trumpet. Fuck me. I'll lose a bit of weight before I can try that. I have helped people through the podcast. I've had people mention it to me. I've had messages. I've had one guy start working at the Samaritans because he'd been listening to the podcast. I've had a guy the other week message me and just say, fuck me. He said something on Facebook like, I'm 56 now. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Frankie's pod. And again, I'm not trying to fucking blow myself up here. But when I read that, I was fucking dumbfounded. When I found out about the guy who was doing Samaritans for it, I was literally driving home and I got that message and I fucking nearly cried because it felt so much to me. But what I'm trying to get to here is, unless someone's been on a journey themselves, it's hard to understand what somebody else is going through. And sometimes the best thing all any of us can do is to listen. We don't have to give advice. We don't have to say, oh, you should go and do this, you should go and do that. If you can give someone advice and signpost them onto an agency or something like that but anyone who comes to me and says, I think I need help, I will go to the East Durham Veterans Trust and see them. Ring them, they will fucking be all over you and they will sort you out. And I've sent a few lads there.
Yeah.
But to listen to someone when you're not expecting it or you don't understand what's going on is hard and can be perceived as being cold. And generally, as humans, we do like each other and we do try to help each other. Yeah. I'm not going to hold your head underwater just because you're pissing me off. I might do it for a laugh, but it is hard. But from your perspective of it, it's seen as being dismissive and them not caring. And sometimes I don't think it's about them not caring. I think it's just about them being uncomfortable and they don't know what to do. Now, I'm not trying to give them a get out of jail free card, but I'm just trying to see it from both sides.
Yeah. No, I think
where we should be is we should be listening and talking like what we're doing now.
In this specific case, I do blame them. I'll be honest, because they'd known me for so. They'd know who I am. They know who I am as a person and my moral standing and all the rest of it. But they didn't give a shit. They did not give a shit. Like I say, it's something that I still deal with now. Not what they did, what someone else did. And that's the important thing, that there's someone else involved and all the rest of it. Like I said, I don't want to go too much into it. Do you know what I mean? One day,
as much as we're all sat here now going, what the fuck is it then? Enough, mate.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's like, I will talk about it one day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When the timing's right for myself. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, I fucking blame them massively. They let me down. I would have never have let them down. That's like, so sort of coming onto it. I hold people now, not just accountable, but to the standards, and this is going to sound cheesy as shit, but to the procedural standards, courage, discipline, all that fucking good shit, right? I now, like, if I get involved in like a friendship or whatever, some sort of friendship, whatever, I will hold them accountable to the procedurals model. Like, if you fail on something like that, I will just fuck you off now. Like, no, like I've had to.
I think it's a good fucking thing to do, to be honest.
Yeah.
You honestly don't need to lower yourself to other people's.
But this is it. And when you leave, like I say, coming back to that, is like you're very vulnerable. You want to fit in somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that was, for me, I think I lowered my standards to try and fit in places. And I think that's what led me down these turns of events. So yeah, once I sort of figured all this out, I mean, it took me, another couple of years to figure that out. And now, if you fail this test, I will just fucking cut you out of my life. You're gone. I don't care. I've sort of lapsed into, like, leaving the army and stuff like that. The whole content thing, I really enjoy it. And it's not just like, I'm known for like making goofy little videos and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But through it, I've met some of the most amazing people, like Alex and Danny, who do like bottom third. It was really weird. I got recognized the other week on like it was weird. The first time I got recognized was on a dating site. That was weird, right? I matched with some lass, right? And she went, "Hi, Stretch." I went, "Oh, I hate." I literally replied saying, "Oh, I hated that."
Fucking hell.
Nah. Do you know what I mean? And it's
I just like to get matched, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, if I swung for the other team, you never know.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, no, it's just wild, isn't it?
I mean,
how things work.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I've learned recently is what I tell myself now is, and I tell other people, I say it to them, and I try and get it to sink into people's heads, is that nothing's permanent. Nothing.
No.
Nothing at all is permanent. We're not permanent. We're going to fucking die. The world's not permanent. It's going to change. Everything's in flux. It's going to change. So whatever position you're in at the moment is only a temporary position. It's temporary. In a fucking week's time, in a year's time, whenever, you'll fucking wake up one day and go, fuck me, I feel better. Why? Why do I feel better? Because everything's changed.
Yeah.
Whether you force yourself to get to that journey or not, it's going to happen. The way I look at it, you've already lived the worst days of your life.
Yeah,
because they're the ones you remember.
Yeah.
You've already lived the worst days of your life. I'm not saying there's nothing worse going to come, but if you've already lived the worst days of your life and you've survived them, you can fucking take on anything. And everything's temporary.
I honestly believe
I sound like
that.
a life coach there.
No, it's Jen though. Like, you know, like I genuinely believe what happened is probably the worst thing that has ever happened to me. It's going to take a lot to top that. Do you know what I mean? It's going to take a hell of a lot to top that. But in a sense, I'm kind of glad that it happened, because had I continued just down that route, maybe things would have got a hell of a lot worse. Maybe things, you know, I'd have never have learned from it. I'd have never, you know, like I educated myself in a certain area of human behavior. You know, I can spot it a mile off now. Literally, all I do for my job now, all I do is I drive Class 1 trucks. I have all the time in the world to listen to shit. I just bang on Frankie's podcast, or I bang on some other I bang anything that I'm like, oh, I want to know more about that. So before I set off, I'm going to find something about that, and I'm just going to let it play. Do you know what I mean? And from that, I've just learned so much, like even from like making content and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Just anything that I want to know about, I'll just bang it on and I'll just listen to it, and I will revisit it like in my head as well, and I'll apply it to everyday life and stuff like that. You know, it saved me. It saved me a couple of times since.
Yeah, self-education that way is fantastic.
Well, this is it. I mean, you look at bringing it back to like a military sort of theme. Without intelligence, you're just sending blokes in. Do you know what I mean? You need the intelligence. You need to know where these people are. You need to know this about them. You need to know that about them. You need this. Do you know what I mean? So without intel, without educating yourself on certain things, you know, you're just going to fall into that trap again. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome.
Yeah, literally the definition of insanity.
Yeah, and I spent fucking many a year being insane, and it took me a while to find myself again, type of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, it is what it is. I mean, we got fucking deep there.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's kind of weird because people are going to see this. People who might have seen like the videos I post out there and stuff like that. They just think I'm some goofy guy, but now there is a human behind these eyes.
Yeah. Man. I'd like to say there's a human behind these ones, but I think he's fucking long gone. You know, I mean, talking about you saying you put the videos out and content, and anyone who normally listens to my podcast or watches my YouTube videos and stuff like that probably don't know who you are.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I mean, I'm very small time. I think I just hit 4K on TikTok today.
Fucking hell, I wish I did. I've got, how many have I got on TikTok? I think it's about 580. You know, but I mean, I'm happy with that. You know.
Yeah, dude. You think how many? 580 is a lot, man.
When I'm on TikTok, I don't post a lot on there, and my algorithm, I think TikTok got to know me quite quickly because I just got, I'd flick and there'd be Rebecca Goodwin. She's fucking funny, Becky Milf, and just people like that. I was just, you know, these lasses who were advertising on TikTok, basically. That was all my algorithm was. Until I found fucking Danny. Who the fuck's this? Ricky Vett. Who's this fucking idiot?
Yeah.
I can understand what he's saying. He speaks English. And then Flex and people like that. And then yourself. Because I'd found them. I started getting your videos and stuff. So, you know, and then I use TikTok the way I use Facebook now. I use it to recruit and stalk people and say, right, the podcast, Sometimes I get fobbed off. Sometimes people like yourself will say yes and come on and talk about it. I mean,
yeah, no, I honestly, I love everything about it. Do you know what I mean? It's the
what got you
connections
started on
made,
it?
and so it's quite
Yeah.
interesting. So I was driving for a local company, and I was on my break. And what I'd do on my break is I'd pull into the services at what's it called now? It's near Dunstable. And I'd pull into a services there, right? And I'd go in and I'd go get the dude like. So I also found the gym as well after leaving. When I was in, absolute biff. Now I go to the gym every moment I can. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, it's 4 or 5 times a week. So yeah, weird. So I'd always watch what I eat and stuff like that, right? And I used to go in there, and I was still quite new to it and stuff like that. I'd go and get like what was it called, like noodle box things. Do you know what I'm
Right.
talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. I'd go get one of those, and I'd sit in my truck, and I'd open YouTube. When I was going through all that bad shit before, there was a content creator called Angry Cops. I don't know if you're I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I think I have. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, is the very animated reserve drill sergeant. Is also a police officer and all the rest of it. He's doing really good stuff, by the way. I think he's just spoke out about the Buffalo school system and how they allow some really fucking weird shit to happen. I do suggest having a look at that. It's actually really interesting. He's going to above and beyond to make sure that these people are being held accountable, like beyond the role of a police officer. But yeah, so like I found his content when I was going through such a shit time, and it cheered me up. And because I'd been looking at his stuff, more people like that came up on the algorithm. So there was Nico Ortiz, there was Baddy Street. There was just so many people that just start popping up. And I really related to how they were as a person because it reminded me of me, who I used to be before everything that was shit happened. And I started watching more of their stuff and just sort of like seeing how animated they were and all the rest of it. And I was very much like that. And I'm starting slowly to come out of my shell and be myself again more, which, so in a way it's been therapeutic. And it led me on to like podcasts. So then I started listening to Unsubscribe. I don't know if you've listened to them. And they're all ex-military dudes, except one of them. Well, there's a funny story behind it. Basically, they did like a veteran special, and this guy was on it. He's never served, and they all started. One of them's got a purple heart because he was injured in Iraq, and like he tried pinning his purple heart on this guy, and ever since that, the internet has gone mental. Right, like they did live shows, and people were bringing medals to pin on the guy and stuff like that, just because it's funny, right? So according to the internet, he was ex-paratrooper, all this fucking mad special forces guy, but like because there's so much of that information that's been put onto Reddit and stuff like that, AI started picking up on it, and if you asked who Brandon Herrera was, it would tell you that he's a war hero, the most decorated. All this, it's crazy. The internet is crazy, but it was just like I just related to it, and I thought, why don't I just give it a go? I mean, something might happen, something might not. Do you know? It's one of those things. Like I don't like driving. I'll be honest, and I would like to make content a full-time thing eventually. I understand that it's at the moment I'm house sharing, so it's very difficult to be able to do the things that I want to do. I mean, confined to my bedroom to be able to do some of these things, and I can't be super loud at certain times. And
I'm cutting that bit out, right? Just that I'm confined to my bedroom to do some of these things, and that's going to be the setup of this. Just that little bit like that.
So that's 2 minutes. 2 minutes 9. 2 minutes 9. Write that down. But
no, you know what it is. I used to look, years ago. I'd look at not years ago, recently. Really, I'd look at like people doing reels and stuff like this, and Instagram, and I dabbled with YouTube years ago for like tried video games on there, like Euro Truck and stuff like that, and Project Cars and things. And I went through that route, and it fucking didn't. I couldn't be bothered with all the editing and this, that, and the other and stuff like that. And it kind of waned off. I think my raddled ADHD brain allows you to do something for 3 months, and then you fucking just go on to somewhere else, you know. And that's what I've always been like until I started doing this, and I've been doing this 18 months. Yeah, 18 months I've been doing this now, and that's the longest I've ever stuck at anything. And I used to look at people and look at them doing on YouTube, and I think, you fucking plonger. What are you doing that for?
Oh, dude, I was just like, best for me, it was especially TikTok.
Yeah,
like when during the lockdown and all the rest of it, when all the fucking shitty bomb stuff happened, I used to think TikTok was just fucking dumb. It was just this. I was just like, I'll never get involved with that. I'll never get involved with that. And now, because I just put myself out there, you know, it's wild because I'll be honest, I actually feel like it's given me a sense of purpose, in a sense, because I get on super well with Danny and Alex, like really well with Danny and Alex, because they have a similar mission to mine. Do you know what I mean? They just all I want to do through social media and stuff like that is just make the UK a better place for current serving veterans, people who want to join, and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you mentioned earlier about blowing your own trumpet about, you know, getting messages and stuff like that. I've had the same. I think there was the internet's a weird thing, and you do need to have a thick skin, especially when you post as an RLC bloke, right? Posting about, you know, like
hey,
I remember.
I think I've been very good.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You do your thing, man.
Yeah,
I take it, man.
No.
You know, posting, like, taking the mick out of like I did a couple of skits where I pretended to be a Marine, you know, Army, Navy, and Air Force, right? And some of the comments in there, I'm just like, yo, y'all take yourselves way too fucking serious, dude. You're like, chill out.
Also, the people who don't get it, because when you've done the RAF bit, you were stood in front of a hotel. Your backdrop was a hotel, and I watched people question you on that. Fucking hell, not get the joke. Fuck off.
It's like the oldest joke in the book as well. Yeah. That's why I thought it was quite funny. Like, some people found it hilarious. There was one, so I actually decided to not troll these people, but sort of like just show that I'm not bothered by it, because I'm really not. Do you know what I mean? If someone has a point that they think they can argue, like, I will go in there. Like, I would argue that during, like, Afghanistan and stuff like that, that the RLC were probably one of the biggest targeted out there, because moving the trucks and stuff like that, moving the supplies, you know, logistics is probably one of the biggest targets in a 360-degree war zone. I mean, you're like World War II and stuff like that, where you had the front line, the trenches, and then you had the support behind it.
Yeah.
That's different, right? And
the way it works.
Yeah, and you could define people by the uniform that they wore. However, Afghanistan, don't get me wrong, my tour was not kinetic in any form of the way. It was just maybe the odd IDF, right? But, you know, people are like, oh, RLC, like, people who really take themselves seriously. And I would say to them, I would actually argue that in a 360-degree war zone, the logistic core drivers especially are probably one of the biggest targeted, because who delivers the food? Who delivers the water? How does an army keep going? Food and water, right? And if you attack that supply link, you haven't got a military. Do you know what I mean? So when people, you know, jump in there and give shit, but eventually I just stopped replying to them, because I was just like, I'm spending my time, you know, back and forth in with this guy, when this guy up here is laughing at my shit. They like it. So now I'm going to, you know, fuck you. I'm going to engage with this dude more. Do you know what I mean?
There's the thing is as well with the internet, I've found, and again through things like TikTok and Facebook and generally X, formerly known as Twitter, because you have to say that. You can be guilty by association, and I've only experienced a little bit of it. I've had a couple of people pipe up on TikTok when I first started, and I did the same thing. I thought, right, well, I'll put my point across, and I quickly learned that
there's no point.
Just you fuckwit, go away. Just ignore him. You're not entertaining them. But I interviewed a guy who some people love, some people hate. I've interviewed two people like that. So I interviewed Godfrey Bloom, European MP, and some people love him. Some people call him right wing. Whatever, he's not. He really isn't. But he comes across a bit Farage. If you know what I mean.
Okay.
He was UKIP. I got a bit of shit for interviewing him, saying, "Oh, why are you interviewing him?" Because it's all politics. And I said, well, it wasn't. He was an officer in a TA in the Royal Corps Transport. Funny enough.
Yeah.
and he spent a long time, and he's done a lot for the military and stuff while he was serving and when he was an MP. And it was nice for him to come on the podcast and everything. And they interviewed a guy called Trevor Colt, got a military cross.
Yeah, I've heard. Was he? Yeah, he's Royal Irish, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Irish
And he's
Rangers.
got quite a big YouTube following. He's on there every day, does lives and every morning and stuff like that. Very entertaining guy. Got a couple of boots he has. First into Sangin, one of them. It's a good boot. And because there's a lot of people don't like him. Because
to be fair, that is a name I have heard and I've seen on X.
Yeah. He gets a lot of shit, and he doesn't deserve it. And he'll tell, I mean, literally go back and watch the podcast I did with him, or watch somebody else's is probably more entertaining. No, watch mine. Fuck it, watch mine.
Yeah, watch yours, obviously.
I'll give you the name of the better ones later. He had a lot of trolls on Twitter. X.
Yes, he did.
And I think it's fucking genius what he did. So he got a big payout off the MOD for whatever that was about. Nothing to do with me. Don't care. Not interested. But when he got the payout, he basically went online the next day and went, right, anyone can give me the real name of this and this, these people. He goes, so they aid me too, because they were hidden behind fucking pseudonyms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He just basically said, look, I've had some money off the MOD and I'm going to share it out there. Anyone who gives me their name with proof that I can prosecute them, I'll give you $5,000. Fucking hell, I was sat at work going, fucking...
Who is this guy?
Yeah. I couldn't even find him. But he's had a lot of shit because of that, or because of people like that. And because I'd interviewed him, and then I'd put clips on Twitter and stuff like that to advertise it, I started getting shit. And I was like, oh, you fucker, hang on.
Yeah.
And I was going to kick back, and then I thought, no, don't. Just fucking let it lie. And there's a guy called Chris Binch who does the Old Paratrooper podcast.
Yes.
Very good. He's really good. And I chat to him regularly because we send each other's guests as well. And he wants me to go on his. I might do that.
Do it.
You know it is. It's the old thing of I ain't got a story to tell, but
I literally thought that as well. I mean, when you messaged me, I was like, I think I actually said to you as well. I was like, I don't even know what I fucking talk about.
Well, we've been now here for
done
2 hours 18 minutes. Yeah. And we've talked a lot of shit. And, yeah, but that's what it's about. It's about when I started this podcast, I was going to do it. We were going to call it the Battery Bar, and it was just going to be, dits and fucking shits and fucking having a tin of piss out of each other. Now. And when I interviewed the first person who then sat there within 15 minutes and told me that you don't know this about me, but I contemplated suicide when I was in training because I found it hard, and only because the corporal found me that I'm here. And I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it changed then. That was when it changed, and it wasn't going to be a jokey thing. Don't get me wrong. Come on, we're gonna have banter and laugh and stuff like that. But there's people who come on here who've got genuine stories to tell. It's great to get them out. I mean, I would imagine now that there's people who if they've got this far, they're either on drugs or they've listened to it in fucking little snippets, which most people do, who've watched you on TikTok and have now got a better understanding about you. Hopefully they'll appreciate your content or you a little bit better than they did previously.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, and this is going to sound a little dickish in a way, but it's sort of like when I got I'll tell you the piece of content that it happened on. So there was, like I say, all these people giving me shit and stuff like that in the comments. Right? So I screenshot them all. Right? I don't now. Do you know what I mean? It was just for this video specifically. I screenshot, cropped them, and all the rest of it. And I bought a T-shirt, right? And on the T-shirt it says, "Don't bully me, I'll come." Right? And so what I did was, it's just like it opens up. I'm just there making a sandwich or whatever, and then my phone's going mental, and then it just shows me just looking at the phone like, you can't see my T-shirt yet, right? I'm just like, what? Like, what? You know what I mean, right? And now everyone's like, I like to think that everyone was like, oh shit, what's he gonna do? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like you can see the messages. Oh, you crowbag. Oh, you piece of shit. Oh, fucking get a shave. The army is in disrepute. Blah blah blah. And there's actually a message on there, which is the last one from one of my old admin sergeants. He's a fucking bellend. Anyway, right? Honestly, the story is wild. Just to break it down, just like as quick as possible. His nickname was also Stretch, right? And I ended up losing that nickname for a while because all the new lads that filtered in, they just called me Big Danny T instead of Stretch, right? Because he was like, no, I'm Stretch Rare, right? And he actually messaged me on TikTok because I took the name Stretch and used it for my social media handles and all the rest of it. And he was like, "You didn't serve long enough to get that name," and rah, rah, rah. And I'm just like, "Are you for fucking real? You are a grown-ass man. Why are you saying this?" Do you know what I mean? I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I went into it on a bit more detail on the bottom third because it actually ended up involving Ricky, because this same guy messaged Ricky, which is arguably probably one of the bigger TikTok creators in the military space. Very arguably, he's one of the bigger ones, right? Messaged Ricky saying the exact same thing, saying, "No, he's not the real Stretch," or whatever. I got a voice note off Ricky over it. And I was like, "What?" And he's like, he goes to me, "I don't know what he expects me to do. Like, are we going to tell you off? Like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? This is fucking wild. Absolutely pathetic."
That whole veteran community out there, right? And I'll tell you what, there's some really fucking good lads, but there's some really fucking salty veterans out there. Really fucking
big
salty.
time, dude. Yeah.
And it's not, you know what it is? It's not the ones like me, my age. It's not the old veterans. It's fucking like now. Not now. They're not getting, the lads are getting out now. But like the last 10, 15 years or whatever, it's them ones. They're the fucking.
There is a lot of that. Do you know what I mean? And I can't wait to get called a remph by someone who hasn't even deployed overseas.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's going to be a day. It's going to be funny. I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but so in this video, I run up the stairs and I run and grab some toilet tissue. And I've made the scene look like sort of like you see my face, and it's like and like I poured some water on because I had my MTPs on, right, my combats on, and I poured water over my crotch, right, and I turn around, you can see like there's a wet stain on my crotch, and then at the end it turns around, I've got the toilet paper in my hand, and I've got the t-shirt on, you can see it. And it says "Don't follow me." I'm just like, so I was just like, I'm just turning this negative into something that I find funny, and because I find it funny, someone else will find it funny.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I look at it the same way with this. If again, blowing me on fucking trumpet. If I help one person, and I know I have, I know I've helped some people, it makes it all worth it. Like I told you before we started this, my fucking back is killing me. I've done well to sit still for this long.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all right. Yeah. But it's worth it. Sometimes I'm thinking, I'm recording and I can't be fucking arsed. But I've never cancelled any. I've always tried to, because you've got to give people like yourself the respect that you volunteer to come on it, or, fucking take one step forward for a motorbike course type of thing.
Hi.
I've got to show you respect for coming on, and I've got to be there as well. And the content side of it, I've seen yours get better and better and better on TikTok, and I do get.
I appreciate that.
I don't comment or anything. I might from now on say fucking. Just going to put Rem. I'm just going to
do it.
Just constantly put. In fact, I'm going to see if anybody else bites it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be quite funny.
That would be funny, and plus it drives my engagement. So feel fucking free.
One of the best TikTok videos I've had. Literally over 3 days, it got 20-odd thousand views over a couple of days, and I was like, why? It just fucking happened. It was no different than else. And all it was because it was one of the lasses I interviewed, and she said, kids nowadays, the soldiers nowadays, they finish work, go in the room, and just sit and play on a mobile phone. Nowadays we didn't have this and this, that, and it then. And it was just that. And people fucking...
they lost
the shit.
The funny thing about...
Fucking bring it on.
Yeah, the funny thing about people on the internet is they want to be right. And I actually experimented with it, and I was actually really surprised. There was a piece of content that I did. It's like a soldier losing blood. It's like, what should you type? And then he pulls out a note and it just says "Goth girls in fishnets." Right?
I remember that one.
Yeah, that was my most view. I think it sits at like 370k or something like that. It just blew out of the thing. And what I'd done on the video, I'd purposely misspelt something to see what had happened.
Right. Okay.
So, like a lot of the comments are people correcting me. So it's just I'm always experimenting with different ways on like to drive engagement to a point. There are like other posts that I do that are more just sort of like, hey, go check out my boy, or do you know what I mean? Just sort of like using that platform because my buddy, he's a tattoo apprentice, and this month he's donating 50% of his profits to Don War Memorial Museum. So check him out. His name's Varden. Go look at him up. Yeah, so and I served with the guy. Like, he's a really, really fucking top dude. But yeah, just the whole there is when it comes to short form, you've got to hook them in that 3 seconds.
Yeah,
you have to hook them in that 3 seconds.
I suffer from that shit.
Yeah, admittedly, I don't apply it to everything because sometimes, like, I really appreciate the community that I've started to build, and that's just so wild. Because when I started this out, it was just me blowing off steam. It was just me having a laugh. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a joke amongst friends. So I'm very engaged with people in the States. Through, like I say, through Nico, I ended up joining the Discord. I watch him on Twitch and all the rest of it. And I'm actually, I wouldn't say I'm like super well known by any means, but I've got a good rapport with people from over the States and stuff like that. And it's like, this is how I do it. Do you know what I mean? So I just started like studying content in the truck. Just bang on Unsubscribed podcast are very good for it. There's an episode. I'll see if I can send you it. Literally for 15 minutes, they just basically break down YouTube and just from everything from like the packaging of your video. Like, you could be the most charismatic dude, but if you haven't packaged it right, no one's going to click your video, and all this mad stuff. It comes down to thumbnails, titles. There is so much that goes into it that people do not like. I didn't think about it when I first uploaded a couple of YouTube videos and stuff like that, but you've got to make it stand out. I mean, another good piece of content to watch if you're wanting to get into content, and maybe even yourself, is it was a Joe Rogan episode with Mr. Beast.
Right.
And the science behind Mr. Beast videos is wild. Like, if he feels that there's like a part of the video that's going to be quite low engagement, they'll have someone like run behind him in like a red t-shirt or something like that, because it's the whole monkey brain thing where it's like, that's eye-catching, do you know what I mean? So they continue what there's like, well, what's that doing? Anyway, back to what I was doing. Do you know, just the way there's like a psychological effect to it as well, do you know what I mean? And obviously where I've been learning, about certain behaviors and stuff like that, it just a lot of it just tied in.
It is. It's like when it all started, years ago. It was just seen as a
bit of fun,
a place to put your fucking holiday snaps and stuff like that on.
Yeah. I remember being a teenager going onto YouTube and just watching weird, funny videos that I found funny and me and my buddies found funny. It's like, oh, have you seen that thing? And then we'd like show each other, and but now it's like a proper business.
I mean, with Top Gear now disappearing and the Grand Tour gone, car guys, we get all our content from YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, Mighty Car Mods.
Well, my favourite is Auto Alex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I fucking religiously fucking watch their content, because they've took that formula of Top Gear and made it their own and almost the same. So it's got that familiarity.
Yes.
And stuff like that. But what I'm really saying is that I live on my own, right? I watch a lot of content on my computer. Not what you're thinking.
No, you watch that VR.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I'm very good at one-handed watching. Put it that way. But I watch a lot of content, and I'll, as much as I'll spend an hour or two maybe watching a movie of an evening, or playing with this stuff and all that, and a thing I've found recently is AI music generation.
Oh god, that's hilarious! If you put some of the stuff in there,
it's fucking. I've redone my theme music on this fucking podcast with it and all sorts. So I'll put the idea of lyrics into ChatGPT or DeepSeek or whatever like that, and then I'll take them out of there and I'll put them into Sonu, S-O-N, I can't remember what it's called, and put it into that, and give it, it's like the genres I want it to sound like, and then it comes out with it. And some of it's like ridiculous, but some every now and again you go, fucking hell, that's really good.
Yeah,
It's really
it's kind of scary. I was going to say it is scary. I remember. The only experience I've got like using the music side of it was so there is a community for veteran gamers called UK Veterans Gaming. They've got a website and stuff like that. But we were all in like one of the chats one time. No one was really gay. We just sometimes just sit there and talk, And they showed me it. They were talking about it, so I was like, oh god. So I booted it out and I was like, guys, give me some prompts and stuff like that. And we just the most weird shit you could think of in like in like a country song, and it's it's just goofy stuff. It's wild.
It got that bad that I've actually fucking subscribed to one of them. I paid for it and then I cancelled it. I'm not going to keep paying for it. But I say it come out with some. I like. I'll send you it afterwards.
Yeah, do.
It's fucking, but it's more like a country and western. I'm gonna fucking top myself in a minute song type of thing. But it is, for me, it's the whole online media, the social media stuff like that, especially YouTube, and now coming up, more prominent with TikTok and stuff like that. Is that the content is enjoyable. There's people out there that they're making a living, but the reason they're making a living is because they're quite good at it, or in some cases, very, very good at it. Like, I think one of the ones I really, really love watching, he doesn't put out that often, is a guy called DIY Perks.
Okay.
And he just makes some of the most amazing stuff, and he's got, I can't even explain it, but it's like, he'll make a fucking, he'll take a TV and he'll make a skylight out of it that's white light, and stuff like that.
That's insane.
It's honestly, look him up, mate. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
He makes his own microphones and stuff like that. And you just
That's crazy.
And he goes, well, at the end of the video, he's gone, and what you don't really know is that this whole episode's been recorded on a microphone I made. And you're like, what? Just little things
decent.
like that. It's
cool.
So, your plans for the future are to push out more content, get more popular. Do you envisage, fingers crossed for you, that one day you could do it as a full-time job?
I hope so, yeah. Like, I understand it's like a slow process, but it just takes that one video just to kick it off. And maybe that'll happen, do you know what I mean? It's like, I want to go into YouTube as well as doing like the short form, do you know what I mean? And I've got like a couple of videos out there, but they're not like I said, because I feel kind of restricted where I am at the moment, house sharing and all the rest of it. Yeah. I'll get a good idea and I'll be like, I can do that, but then it'd be like, but I've got to do it tomorrow. And then someone might be ill in the house, or they've got the day off, or do you know what I mean? And for me to record, I'd prefer just to be me in the house, so I can be as loud, as wacky, as whatever, like as animated as I want to be. So I mean, for the future, yeah, ideally, like I came into this not expecting a damn thing. I enjoy it. I've met some of the best people from doing it. I feel that I have, even though it was only 9 years, it's still 9 years of experience on someone who hasn't joined yet, right? So like I have something to pass on. So in that respect, like I am recently, one of the biggest questions I get asked in my life is like, I'm going to basic next week, or I'm thinking of joining the military. How do I go about it? So whilst I was in the truck, I got a free Quran book with my phone. So I didn't really know what to do with it, because I've got a gaming laptop as well. So I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? But it's so small, I can just put it in my work bag and take it with me. So what I did was I typed up a little document, and basically it goes from, the joining process, basically from, you thinking about joining the army? Here's some things to consider. And then it goes into like, it's got like loads of it, everything's linked. So it takes you to certain pages on the army website. It goes through like the assessment center, the things that I wish I knew before I attended assessment. And all the way down to, right, you're at the gates of basic. These are the things that I'm going to leave you with, right? So here's some advice from me, rather than, because when you're live streaming and stuff like that, it's, you want to try and engage with as many people as you can, right? And if you're taking 10, 15 minutes trying to explain all these things,
people
you're taking,
flick off.
Yeah. People come dissociate because it's like, I've heard this shit before. I don't really fucking care. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, like the attention span now, because like with shorter form media, it's like, right, I'm not fucking interested in this. Boop, do you know what I mean?
Literally, it's a squirrel.
Yeah, literally, it is literally like that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just like, yeah, dude, of course, man. Like I've put, if you go into my link tree in my little bio thing there, I've got a little page document there. You can go check it out. Have a look. It goes through this. And people have actually, said that it's helped me. It's only a recent thing that I've done, but people have said, "Oh no, there's quite some good information on there." There's probably like other things that I could probably put in there, but if it's not broken, don't fix it, right?
Oh yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Everything evolves. Like I said before, everything's temporary.
Yeah, so, exactly.
It'll evolve.
This is it. Do you know what I mean? Because when I was writing, I was like, "Is some of these things that I'm writing relevant to today?" I'm still going to put it, but it might not be relevant now. But having that information could help. So it's one of those things. So I think it's like I say, it's given me a new lease of life. It's given me a new purpose. Like, I'm still doing military things. I can do more probably for the guys and girls within the ranks outside of the military than I can in. Do you know what I mean?
I was surprised that the size of the, let's say, how do they describe it, Miltok, or is it something like, I'm not down with the kids. I don't know the names.
Hashtag Mill Talk. Yeah.
I don't use that one. Fucking do. I'm surprised at the size of, let's call it a community, if you really want to, of content that is on TikTok, and I'm being specific to TikTok. That there's so much on there. Don't get me wrong. There's lots of contradictions. There's lots of people saying different things and whatever. But you take out of it what you want.
Yes.
Some people like content, some people don't. Whatever, they'll flick by. People will find their level. It doesn't all have to be funny. It doesn't all have to be sad.
No.
It can be a bit of both, and you like what you like. It is that. I mean, we've been chatting now for 2 hours 40. I think we're going to have to call it a night for now.
I apologize. We have gone into some bits, man. We have gone into some light territory, some dark territory.
We've got there. We've gone up there. But I'm going to have to say stop. Fucking halt.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish you really, 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 really wish you well, and that your content goes from strength to strength. I enjoy watching your TikToks.
I appreciate it.
I'm not fanboying. I'm not that bad. Right? You turned me down earlier, so you can get fucked.
Did what?
You turned me down when you said it doesn't matter. Watch it back, you'll know what I mean. I hope it goes from strength to strength, and
I likewise.
You fucking can make a living off it. I know I never will, because I haven't got the dedication and the.
No, do you say you've been doing this for 18 months and it's the thing that you've been sticking to, man? Just keep getting after it. That's all it is.
I've got to my level. Other guys have got more popular. Who've started at the same time as me, and theirs is freaking. They've got thousands of followers and shit like that.
But at the same time,
more time and doing it.
Yeah,
I go, that'll do, and it just goes out.
It'll get there. I'll give you a really good example about a guy that I follow, right? So within that Unsubscribe podcast, there's a guy called Donut Operator, okay? And he used to do like little gaming videos. He's an ex-police officer, ex-Navy, yeah? And he just used to do video games and stuff like that on the net. You get like a few thousand views here and there and all the rest of it. But the one video that blew up for him, right? Because he was still in the police at the time. There was a way that one of the news media outlets reported a police officer going 80 through an area, like a residential area. Donut was like, fuck no, I'm not going to let you get away with this because I know the story behind that. So what he did was he used his platform, he jumped on there and he broke it down. Now all the guy does is break down police stuff.
I've watched him. Yes.
And it was that one video. This guy could not even buy Lego for his kid. He had gone through so many hardships. This one video just completely changed his life. Do you know what I mean? So, like I say, it just takes that one, like a little bit of his luck.
It's finding that little fucking dig in there, get in there, and carry on.
Exactly, and it's finding out what you're good at as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm quite good at talking to people, so I might start looking at that within my content in the sense of like going into like longer form YouTube sort of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, like I say, just
don't fucking start a podcast because I've got too much competition.
No, I will just be a guest. I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to different people. Different experiences. I mean, like Danny Alex, no offense, a little younger than you. Do you know what I mean? So they have different experiences.
I can't help when I was born, you know what I mean?
Sorry, my parents banged before yours, guy.
Yeah, but fucking sprog. SLR.
But yeah, I'll talk to you about this other podcast after we hang up in a minute. But yeah, honestly, it's a grind.
Yeah, it is.
It is a grind, and one day it might work out. And if it doesn't, I'm no better where I am now, except that maybe I've just helped keep people around for a little bit longer. Exactly.
And that's the thing. You enjoyed yourself,
Yeah.
You keep doing what you're doing, right? And you will, I know you will. I know you'll get there. Because
I appreciate it.
I enjoyed it. And like you've got people commenting and stuff like that, so it's just going to get better and better and better.
That's
Right,
it. And
well-
likewise for you, man.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say goodnight to you now because it's fucking late and I'm sick of listening to you. Right, I'll say goodnight and God bless, and I really hope that everything goes well for you in the near
I
future.
appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I hope the same for you as well, man. Really do.
Right. Cheers, bud.
We're doing good stuff.
Stop.
I hope you enjoyed that podcast. I enjoyed recording it. If you could just hit the like button, and also if you could subscribe and hit the notification bell, that'd be great because it'll help the channel grow. The more people will see it, the bigger it'll get, and the more guests I can get on, and the more people I can talk to. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, like I said. Look forward to the next one. Hopefully, we'll be out next week as normal. Bye-bye now.